last week with you, Jim, I wasn't surprised that Colorado scored. I was surprised that they didn't score more routinely early and often. I think got up to 34-7.
Right.
And credit Deion Sanders and that staff for having his guys just not look at the scoreboard, just play, just keep playing. They had another receiver emerge in Amarian Miller, the freshman, 200 yards receiving in that game. That was a surprise. Nobody saw that guy coming. But SC, I mean, I don't know what – I think Lincoln Riley is the most gifted play caller, one of the most gifted play callers and innovative offensive coaches in all of college football. But I don't know what his blind spot is to the defensive side, because this hasn't just been at SC. This has been at Oklahoma too. And I think what we've seen is we become so offensive oriented. Like, all you have to be is competent on defense if you want a shot at the college football playoff or to win a playoff game or to get to the national championship game. They don't seem to have any business or interest in that side of the football at all. I mean, it's embarrassing, to be honest with you.
Okay, 15-second answer here. John wants to know, does Kentucky have a shot in Athens this Saturday against Georgia?
Absolutely, they have a shot, but they're going to have more of a consistent passing game around the run game because, defensively, I think Georgia will step up at home.
Big games this weekend. Tom Luganbill, thank you. Safe travels to you. We look forward to listening and watching you on Ball and Spittin' Lugs this week. It's a big one coming up. Oklahoma, Texas this week. Maryland, Ohio State, LSU, Missouri, Bama, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Georgia, Notre Dame, Louisville, Michigan, Minnesota. Some great games coming up in Week 6 of college football. That is Monday Morning Live, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Promo code next round, MyBookie.ag. Replay starts now. New Next Round Live starts at 9 a.m. Central.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Drytech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. Drytech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. Drytech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call Drytech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, Drytech's team will handle the rest.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
As summer starts to fade, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight because we've got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight. Box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and let's show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your party. Take charge today.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
It's October, and we've all got clear eyes and full heart. It's big games in Texas this weekend. Alabama's at Texas A&M, and we got the first Red River shootout since 2011 where both teams are unbeaten. One's in Dallas, one's in College Station, and that's where we're headed this week for Week 6 of college football. But Week 5 was a lot of fun. Welcome in. We'll recap it with you. Jump into the chat rooms. Call us up if you'd like. You can jump in the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline at 205-734-0923. At Next Round Live on all our video and audio platforms. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Rockstar Forrester, Tyler, Lunsford, Taylor Korn handling everything in our command center. Like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Brownie, you want to talk about Alabama football to start with and what they did over in Starkville. We'll get to Auburn and Georgia and that great game at Jordan-Hare. But you wanted to talk about Angry Saban being back.
Don't you? Did you hear people that like that?
Yes, we had talked about it a couple of times on Talk of Champions leading into it, that he had become, not as aggressive on the sidelines.
Right.
And yeah, absolutely.
Like weird thing. I don't know if you guys ever, and I don't watch it every week, but occasionally it'll fly by my timeline. The thing he and Chris Stewart do in the coaches show, and I don't know if he did this with you, but where he breaks down a play.
Yep, on the big screen.
On the big screen, he draws it up, draws the X's and O's and all of that. And in the Ole Miss game, the play he drew up was the end zone shot of the block kick, of the block punt, right? And he draws it up, and it's an amazing. I mean, just the detail in which he goes, like the set play that they had. It wasn't just like some random lucky guy didn't get blocked. He was explaining why the guy didn't get blocked and how they saw something on film, and yeah. And then he mentions, and we get the ball first and goal to one, and it didn't really go well from there, and he kind of laughs about it. And I was reading the response. He was like, man, I cannot believe Saban is laughing about a snap over a guy's head on first and goal for the one that resulted in second and goal for the 22. I mean, what is Saban laughing at? You would never see this guy laughing
this is
that.
The same guy, his first national championship at Alabama. What did he say in the locker room after the game?
Yeah, he said, hey, everybody, congratulations, seniors. This is why you all your hard work, and this is why you came to Alabama. Everybody else, that is not the way we effing finish a football game. He's laying down the law. And, he's kind of laughing about a snap over a dude's head. And everybody's like, man, old Saban goes berserk about that. And Saturday night, you saw that guy again on the sidelines of a blowout win. Red face, ripping off the headsets, chewing people. I cannot tell you. I just tweeted a random thing about it. How many people on Twitter are like, God, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was I want to cry to see that guy again.
And I don't think it's coincidence, Dunaway. It was after he was asked about Gene Smith paying somebody $5,000 to possibly come visit the campus. Yeah. He's had enough. He's fed up with today's athlete. And this is how he's going out with scorched earth.
Well, we joked about getting a hat or a T-shirt early in the year about Make Saban Angry Again. Here is Nick Saban on why it all went down. A Miss Terry quote afterwards.
You had some moments in the first half where you seemed pretty animated on the sideline. What was behind that for you, and kind of how do you think that helped things?
Well, Miss Terry told me if we're not playing good to get on their butt. So I just did what I was told.
Yeah, that's Nick Saban afterwards. So that's where we start today. Alabama beating Mississippi State. We'll get more into that one. Let's go down to Jordan-Hare Stadium. You were there, LT. And Auburn took the number one team in the country to the wire. It took a 88-yard drive to tie the game for Georgia. They eventually took the lead. Auburn tied it back, and then gutsy drive from Carson Beck and the best player on the Georgia football team in Brock Bowers to win the game. First, let's look at Georgia. Any concerns about Georgia after this game, or just typical road SEC game?
I don't know. I don't see explosion from the offense. I mean, without Brock Bowers, obviously they lose the game. I mean, he just completely took that thing over. I mean, Carson Beck wasn't bad.
Especially in the crunch down the stretch. Those last 2 drives he had to have, no crucial turnover that could have cost them the game. They were one mistake away, one more turnover away from losing that game.
They were, and if you would have told me that Auburn, doubles up Georgia running the football and they double them up on the turnovers at least +1, I would have said, yeah, Auburn's got a really good shot at winning this game. This game played out exactly how Auburn needed it to play out. Beck's one mistake was just an incredible pick from Jalen Simpson.
Yeah, he's become a great play. Yeah, I mean, it looked initially, I don't know what it was like in the stadium, but it looked initially like it was dual possession, and that's what Danielson thought until you got the replay, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was just an incredible play by Simpson.
Yeah, it looked like. Well, I thought it was a pick, but it did look like dual possession.
Yeah, and the Georgia guy, he barely even gets his hands on the ball. That's how good Simpson was in that situation.
Yeah, he jumped it there. Yeah. Let's start with just Auburn's ability to run the ball. They only threw it 6 times in the first half, but they did something that hadn't been done to Georgia since pre-pandemic, and they rushed for over 200 yards as a team, and they did that in the first half.
Yeah, and one of the 75-yard or 61-yard.
Yeah, 61.
Yeah, the 61 are from Peyton Thorne. I mean, that obviously inflated the numbers a little bit, but I mean, Auburn consistently ran the football all day, and if there is a concern with Georgia, it's lack of explosive plays, and it's the fact that Auburn went out there and gashed them.
It confirms what I've thought about Georgia. You guys know I haven't been high on Georgia all year long to this point. I mean, through the first month of the season, I've said I would not have them ranked number 1. I don't think they deserve that just because they won 2 national championships. I don't think they're the best team in the country. I wouldn't have Georgia number 1. I don't want to take away from Auburn because I thought it was an incredible performance by a severely hamstrung Auburn team. But I think it confirmed to answer your question, what I thought about Georgia. They're not real elite at a lot of spots.
Wasn't it about this time last year when they went to Columbia? Almost lost that game to Missouri.
Yeah, roughly.
I mean, it happens every year, even for the Alabama teams during the dynasty. You go back on the national championship years, and it's usually a slow burn into what ends up being really, really good. Ladd McConkey came back. He made his debut, hadn't played all year. It seemed like the only catches he made were big third-down catches on the sidelines, finding a soft spot in the zone. Bowers is that good. Carson Beck's first road start in a crazy atmosphere. I thought he did well. And now they get Kentucky coming in. We'll talk about that game later on. But for this Auburn team, Deion Sanders is quoted all the time about, I'm taking receipts. You better get me now. You better get me now. Well, Hugh Freeze could say the same thing. This will be the worst roster Hugh Freeze will have at Auburn, and teams are getting him now, but I thought that was a great sign of what he can do down the road for Auburn.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, watch out. This guy can coach, and he doesn't have the personnel right now, but you still hang in there, had every opportunity to beat a team that's won 21 consecutive games and back-to-back national championships. Yeah, look, this is going to be a really, really good program for years to come. I don't know what derails it.
They obviously they're going to have to get quarterback right at some point. I mean, that's the one thing standing between them and maybe even being good this year.
Yeah, you say that, and look, and I don't disagree, but whoever his quarterback is outside of this year so far has been very, very productive.
They have been, but he's going to have to get that right. I mean, they don't have it right now, and there are no good solutions, and it is the one thing really holding this team back. I mean, Jim, you mentioned, or whoever it was mentioned, that they outrushed Georgia. They outrushed Georgia with Georgia not in the least bit worried about them throwing the football. Not in the least. I guarantee you, if you go talk to Kirby and say, how worried were you about Auburn? Oh, we didn't even really think twice about it, to be honest with you. I mean, we could have played straight man the whole game, and they weren't beating us.
Of 9 incomplete passes, 6 of them were drops. And that's a great step forward for Auburn. And maybe a wake-up call from Georgia. That's the way we start the show, being brought to you in part by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, Brownie.
Yeah, you can still use code NEXTROUND and get a special bonus when you sign on there at mybookie.ag with your initial deposit, and you use code NEXTROUND. They'll give you that special bonus, and you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Monday Night Football tonight. You can play it right there at mybookie.ag. Everything from the game to the player props. You can look forward to college football starting back this week, and even a Wednesday night game that involves the Jacksonville State University. So it's time to get on. mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. What that code does for you is it gets you a special bonus at sign-on when you make that initial deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round at MyBookie.ag.
Troy, can we please get Walker White enrolled already? He's the big recruit coming in to be quarterback. Lance says the difference in Auburn's game was third down conversions. That's where McConkey was so good for Georgia.
That's 100%. I mean, that was the difference. Georgia, 8 of 13. Kirby Smart talked about that after the game. Auburn, 2 of 12.
Yeah. That's going to get you beat every time, 2 of 12.
Speaking of Kirby Smart and company talking after the game, Rockstar Gimme Cut number 2. Here is Kirby Smart. I mean, he was very complimentary of the Auburn crowd and winning on the road in the SEC. He knows what he's got in his locker room, and maybe he took a little positive out of this contest.
They all matter. Like, they all feel good. I mean, we put so much into this. I mean, 16, 18-hour days for 5, 6, 7 days. These kids work really hard. There's a lot of build-up. And then when you have a situation where you're behind, I don't know how many times, I feel like we're behind the whole game, and you come back and win on the road, says something about your team and your character. Nobody panicked. I don't know how good a team we got. I really don't. I don't sit here and proclaim that we've got some unbelievable team, but I do think our team believes in each other. We connect. We step up when we need to step up, but we can't keep turning the ball over.
Hey, I will tell you, by the time they play Kentucky this weekend, it'll be 672 days since they last lost a football game.
Wow.
And it's easy to sometimes go through the motions, and I thought a couple of different times when they were just both turnovers turned into touchdowns, just one more mistake away from possibly being upset. They played like a champion.
Yeah, look, and Carson Beck's going to have to be good this weekend. Kentucky, that defense, you saw what they did. They knew Florida wanted to run the football. That's Florida's identity, and they were unable to run the football. And if this game was in Lexington, to me it would be a really interesting game. The fact that it is in the friendly confines there in Athens.
Best stat line of the weekend, to me, is Kentucky as they get ready to go to Georgia. No sacks, no turnovers, and they just had 3 penalties as they demolished Florida there. No sacks, no turnovers, and just 3 penalties. If they're going to win in Athens, that is the kind of stat line they need again this week.
Well, what they can have, though, is 1 for 8 on third downs, which you still win a game by 19 points against the ranked opponent. You win by 19, you're 1 of 8 on third downs, and you had 69 passing yards. Now, Ray Davis was incredible.
Yeah, well, they weren't going to risk it. They weren't going to risk the biscuit by throwing it around and give Florida a chance to get back into it. They didn't need to throw. They didn't have to. They'll have to throw this week.
Massive number, though. Have you guys seen this number?
I saw it at 14 yesterday.
Oh, I saw 23.5.
It opened at circa at 14, yeah.
Oh, we need to check that because I've seen a totally different number.
We're always using mybookie.ag. Brown will check that as we get going. On the other locker room, here's Hugh Freeze afterwards about just what he saw when he left the field after the heartbreaking 27-20 loss to the number 1 team in the country.
It hurts in there right now, and that's good to see. It hurts. It hurts those kids and our coaches and our fans, I'm sure, too. You have a chance to beat the number 1 team in the country and back-to-back national champions at home, and the feeling that you get if you can pull that off is just ecstatic, and you can certainly build off of that, and hopefully we can build off of the way we played better today. But it hurts, and it's disappointing that we didn't find a way to get it done today, but I'm really proud of our kids.
The play calling seemed to be better, a debate on whether he's calling plays or just was more involved in the game plan, like he said. Just they looked better offensively with everything they did. Even though they couldn't throw the ball with consistency, they looked better in everything. And they get a bye week now to where they can work on some other things for the Auburn Tigers. You get a MyBookie line over there?
Yeah, 14.5.
14.5.
Yeah, Georgia's favorite 14.5.
14.5.
Yeah, it says it opened here at 24. I don't know where I saw that number, but I saw a rogue number on Bama. I thought Bama was going to be like 6.5 right around a touchdown. Now it's sitting at 3.5.
It's 3 on mybookie.ag.
3.5 is what I called it would be on Saturday night. Remember that? That's where I thought Alabama, Texas A&M should be. That's about what I think.
I just wonder how Auburn can keep this up, Dunaway. Let me share this number with you, okay? This is Auburn's quarterbacks passing the football against Power 5 opponents, okay? So I'm going to eliminate UMass and Samford. We're just going to go with the defenses they've played, Cal, Texas A&M, and Georgia. All pretty good defenses, by the way.
Yep.
At times. I mean, Texas A&M's has looked suspect. Cal's looked suspect. They are 30 of 62, 38, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. That's 3 games combined. 30 of 60, 238, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. That is just so difficult to win football in the Southeastern Conference with those passing numbers. And somehow they managed to get 219 rush yards with basically the same passing numbers, 11 of 20, 88 yards and a pick. I just don't know how they'll continue to be able to do that if they can't throw effectively. I don't, to Lance's point, I'm not trying to take plays away. I'm just saying if for some reason they happen to defend that quarterback run that Peyton Thorne ripped off 61 yards on, their rushing numbers are completely different there too. So if they run up against a team that could take away the quarterback run, can Auburn still line up and have a traditional run game? Because Jarquez Hunter only rushed for 3 yards a carry. Brian Battie, 4 yards a carry, 19 of 59 and 8 of 35. Not awful, but if you're not going to throw the football, those numbers aren't going to get it done either. You're going to have to run for a lot more traditionally. So if they start to run up against teams that are able to take away the quarterback runs from Ashford and Thorne and force them to throw the football a little bit more, it's going to be razor-thin margins of error for them. And their defense is playing really, really good football. That's the thing. Auburn's defense is playing well enough to overcome a really, really, really one-dimensional offense right now.
In the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room, always trying to get your opinions into the show. Blake says if Auburn can run like this on Georgia, my goodness, what can Kentucky do to them? I'd warn the fact that just because one team did it one week, I wouldn't expect Kentucky to put up the same numbers that Auburn did.
Yeah,
this
because
past week.
when you look at traditional run game, you take the quarterback runs out of it. 27 carries for less than 100 yards.
Yeah.
So, that's what you got from your running back. So I'd be really hesitant to try to make 1 and 1 equal 2 right there.
Alan worried about Alabama going to College Station because of Alabama's passing game. Straight trash is the word used over there, and a lot of people talking college football in the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room. Thank you for being with us today. Keep the comments coming. We'll get to those as much as we can throughout the show. It's the fastest way to get in to the show with us, fastest way to relax these days. A good trip to the Woodhouse Day Spa with our friends up there.
Yeah, Casey Stewart, make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options at Woodhouse Day Spa located at the Summit Shopping Centers, including the body massages, treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. You can order gift cards online 24/7. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just stop in and see them right there at the Summit Shopping Centers.
Ben says every third down, Auburn refused to blitz, played soft coverage, killed them every time, he says, as they maybe late allowed too much Brock Bowers.
I don't think I've ever seen this stat. Auburn had 8 tackles for loss and 0 sacks. It's kind of strange.
That's kind of hard to do. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, it's not pressing the quarterback too much. They're just playing really good run defense there. And then there was, as I tweeted out, it was nice of them to play the Holiday Bowl in Oxford, Mississippi, setting defensive reputations back decades in the Southeastern Conference. As Ole Miss and LSU played probably the most entertaining game of the day, and it was a contest that Lane Kiffin finally got the signature win. Biggest win in Lane Kiffin's time at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I would say so. And if you would have said Ole Miss is going to have 11 penalties, they give up 49 points and 637 yards, there's no way they can win this game. But on the other side, they score 55 points, 389 passing, 317 rushing. Yeah, there was 0 defense in Oxford. Hell of a game if you like offense, though.
Yeah, but Brown, Jaden Daniels did all he could do. 515 total yards, and he was dropping them out of the sky right in the bucket. It was like it was one of those practice drills where you put a bucket at the pylon and you throw the sky and just watch it drop into the bucket. So many good throws from Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his fault. I don't know what has happened to
their
LSU's defense.
Yeah, you expect this from Ole Miss, right?
It was missed tackles, man. They could not tackle. They had people in the right place, and just the first guy would miss every single time.
He would, but, man, it is hard, Jim. It is hard. I got to get the full number here. It is hard to write off 706 yards allowed to miss tackling. I mean, there's more than just missed tackling when you're at 706 yards allowed. 706 for an LSU defense. I can't imagine. Well, I've seen some of it. LSU fans today waking up still thinking about that number.
Yeah, hey, look, the offense is going to be really hard to stop because you're right. Jaden Daniels did everything he possibly could, 414, no turnovers. But this might be that top 10 team we talk about. I mean, they're sitting at 3-2. I mean, I don't see it necessarily, but
I could. With that defense, they got a bunch of losable games left. I don't see that. I know they've brought Pete Jenkins, that 82-year-old Pete Jenkins, back in. I saw that this morning to work on that defensive line. But with that defense, Lance, there's a bunch of losses out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take anything off the table if they lose this weekend at Columbia, which is a
they've
tough
got
game.
their hands full.
Yeah.
They've got their hands full of Missouri.
If you'll remember, that was my team in the summer that I thought would fall out.
LSU?
Was it really?
Yeah, y'all were pretty separate because Lance had them win the national championship. You had them finishing unranked.
They could still be the first 2 loss.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Dunaway before I go with you right now.
I would too. That I have no idea. I thought the offense would be – I didn't think the offense would be this good. I mean, they have found their running back in Logan Diggs.
Oh, they have so many great receivers.
Yeah, you knew Neighbors was going to be good. Brian Thomas was completely dominant.
124 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Kyron Lacey is good. Logan Diggs is running the ball. There's nothing wrong with the offense. But if you go back and watch the game as I did the other day, I should have kept a running total at how many plays started with a missed tackle. Here's Brian Kelly after the game.
I guess kind of the next question is where you guys go from here.
We need to be pissed off about what happened, and have some resolve about our circumstance, and that's not a standard of play that's acceptable. And so we'll see how the guys. I expect them to respond the right way. They've got a lot of pride. They play for LSU. They know that that's not the standard, and I expect them to come back Monday ready to, make sure that they address and we address as coaches the things that we need to do better as well.
Got to bounce back. That's LSU. We'll talk to Tyler Booker, Alabama offensive lineman. He's up next with us. The show being brought to you by our friends at Harbin's Outdoors.
One-stop shop. Look, if you need any work done in the backyard or if you just need a new pool, these guys can do it all. Jeremy and his team, one-stop shop for all of your pool construction needs. You can actually check out Harbin's. Their work they do on Instagram. It's available right now. If you're watching us, you can see some of their work right there. But at Harbins_outdoors, see it for yourself. You can call, text Jeremy directly. Again, they do it all from the install to the lighting, final hardscapes around the pool, everything in between. 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations, but we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
The Next Round Golf Court is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Tyler Booker looks tired, man. He better not be tired. He better bring the energy as we talk to him right here, heading towards Week 6. Alabama, Texas A&M, the only 2 SEC Western Division teams, Brownie, that are still unbeaten. The outright lead in the SEC West on the line this week.
Yeah, big matchup. Tyler with us each week, courtesy of Craneworks. The big guy reminds you, look for the big dog. Craneworks and Rentalworks. If you look tired, it's because you guys played till freaking midnight, Tyler. We need earlier games than that.
Definitely. But hey, anytime, any place.
So when you're up that late though, and you're that wired, coming off a big win on the road, what time do you finally get to bed the next day?
So are you talking about that night?
Yeah, I'm talking about when you guys got back from Starkville, what time did you finally unwind and able to hit the sheets?
Probably so we got back at 1:30. I probably took a shower, unwinded. I probably went to sleep around 2:30.
Oh, that's quick. I think I was still up at 2:30, and I'm old, dude. Come on. You got to celebrate. You got to do some stuff. All right, so you guys go into that game, and I mean, Milroe continues to get better and better. But again, running the football, that first touchdown run from Jalen Milroe, is that the fastest you've ever seen him run? That dude hit that hole, and he was a bullet at that point.
Definitely. I was telling some of the guys on the sideline, that's elite speed. And I've seen it up close because I'm running to go celebrate. I'm like, dang, slow down a little bit. You're not going to catch you. But that's seeing elite speed like that face to face is just exciting to see. And I'm just so glad he's on my team, not anybody else's.
We've talked a lot about the run game and you guys trying to impose your will, and it's not perfect, but it does seem like it has become more effective over the last couple of weeks. I mean, do you think you guys are taking steps in the positive direction, Tyler, in the run game?
For sure. And I feel like we're continuing to gel. We're continuing to get better week by week. And like I said earlier on, it's a time thing. And as we evidently, the more that we play together, the better we get. So our goal is just to get better day by day, week by week, and we're accomplishing that now.
Back to Jalen Milroe, though, when the guys in the huddle, I mean, well, not in the huddle, but you know what I'm saying, when you see him on the field, is this a different football world?
Yeah, in the civil gathering that they do.
Is his confidence growing as a player as he continues to get more and more experience?
Definitely, and I feel like there's never been a point to when he's come out on the field, I'm like, he hasn't shown that same confidence. As soon as Bryce left, he stepped up and he's always had that confidence. So that's just him. He's always going to have that kind of confidence no matter what play he had last. And I feel like that's what sets him apart from a lot of quarterbacks in the country. You're not going to be able to tell when Jalen Milroe had a bad play. You know what I mean? He's always excited to go on to the next play.
Campbell and Marshall at linebacker had big games as well. 2 of the top 4 tacklers for Alabama. You see those guys. You've seen them all camp. Last spring, all camp, blah, blah, blah. People were worried without a starter out there at linebacker. Tell me about what you see in these young guys who are making plays defensively, because I think Alabama's top 4 tacklers were not with the team last year. Campbell, Downs, Jalen Key, and Trez Marshall were the top 4 tacklers. Talk to me about that defense, specifically those 2 linebackers.
Specifically those 2 linebackers, I'm very proud of those guys. That's just how stuff has to work here. It's the next man up mentality, and those guys have definitely stepped in for Deontay. So we're just excited to get Deontay back, and but I'm very proud of those 2 guys. They've shown it all camp. There's not big drop off between our ones and our twos, and that's a great thing to have on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm glad to see those guys stepped up.
Tyler Booker is with us, the Alabama offensive lineman, presented each week by Craneworks. The big guy says, check out the big dog, Craneworks and RentalWorks. Like all of our guests, he appears on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. The other thing the defense is doing, because they're playing really well right now, is they are producing points for the offense. They had a pick six. They set you guys up. That whole situation at the end of the half, that middle 8 minutes right there that's so important in a football game, you guys go down and score. They immediately create a turnover and set up another score. I know you didn't think it because you're in the game, but I'm watching that game like this game's over. I mean, they were just able to slam the door right before the half.
It's not that I was thinking it, but I could definitely feel that we were imposing their will. You could definitely see that it was a different team in that 20-second swing. You know what I mean? When we were still on offense and we had drove the ball down, they still had some type of fight. But as soon as we came out after that turnover, right before the half with like 57 seconds left, I think, they were walking on the field. They had low shoulders, and they didn't have the same body language or the same fight that they did before that. And we just took advantage of that, and we just kept pounding on them.
So you guys rolled to College Station this weekend, and this Aggies front, they wreak havoc. I mean, you look at Walter Nolan, those dudes, I mean, they get after it. And just watching them on film, what is the strength of that defense?
Their aggressiveness and how deep they are. Like I just mentioned, they're like with our defense, there's not a drop off at all between our ones and our twos, and they're the same way. And being able to have a great core of defensive linemen that are able to rotate, being able to keep everybody fresh, that's what creates great defensive lines. And then they're all ultra aggressive. They're just really good up front. I feel like this would be one of the best fronts that we face all year. And this is why you come to the SEC. You come to the SEC to play games like this on the road. So as a unit and as a team, we're looking forward to the challenge that they present.
Body Armor is one of our great sponsors, so let me give you a little Body Armor to get you fired up for these practices. They had 7 sacks, and they had 15 tackles for losses against Arkansas. 7 sacks and 15 tackles for losses. You got to be a wall man. You got to be the Armor this week, right?
Oh, definitely. But like that's every week, That, like I said, they're a great defensive front, but at the end of the day, as long as we execute and as long as we play Alabama football, we just have to control what we can control. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited for the game this weekend.
Do you guys need Jim to come over and speak to the offensive line? I mean, that was a good start right there.
I could do a Lou Holtz voice, too, if you'd like me to do that. Hey, listen, though. I will tell you this. I love this setting. I love College Station. You guys were on the road in Starkville with that crazy environment. Do you guys embrace these road environments in the SEC? Are they as much fun to play in as playing a home game? I know you love Bryant-Denny, but tell me about the mentality when you guys throw on the all-whites.
We're just our mindset is like, let's see how fast we can empty the stadium. You know what I mean? Last week we emptied the stadium about 2 minutes into the third quarter. So that's just our mindset on the road games. Like let's send these fans away home sad. So but as far as like actually getting the work done is just staying focused, not being worried about external factors and just executing and understanding that they're going to have a lot of momentum just because they're home. They're more comfortable at home. The fans and the crowd is behind them, and like also being able to handle the crowd noise. So just controlling what we can control and going out and executing despite all the external factors. But ultimately, our mindset is to empty that stadium.
How tough do the Cowbells actually make it in Starkville?
It wasn't that tough, honestly. I feel like they were kind of blown out of proportion. There's difference between something being really loud, like people are loud. The Cowbells are like a shrill sound. Like Tennessee, that was loud because people were making it loud, like voices are loud. But those Cowbells, it was just a sharp sound. So that and it was his sounds are really distinct from those Cowbells. So you just had to be really keen on the sound and really focused, honestly.
So such a long day leading up until an 8 o'clock kick. Did you eat more before the game or after the game? And tell us what the meal was.
I ate more before, and it's the same pregame meal that Coach Saban's been having since he's been coaching, to my knowledge. Eggs, steak and potatoes.
Oh, sounds
You
good.
put ketchup on the potatoes?
No, I'm a very picky eater. I don't do ketchup. I don't do anything. The only sauces that I do are barbecue sauce and honey mustard. Very picky eating.
Wow.
You know, I once saw that Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback, only eats every game shrimp Alfredo before the game. And when I watch him, all I can think of is how bad his breath must be in that game eating shrimp Alfredo. That seems like an awful meal to eat before a game.
Yeah, that's wild. I won't be able to eat that.
I mean, I just can't imagine. That meal stays with you too, man. Shrimp Alfredo. And then you go run around for 2 hours, 3 hours. That seems awful to me. It's a hard no for Tyler. All right, good luck in College Station. It's a fun venue, and we look forward to talking with you about it next Monday, Tyler.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Y'all have a nice week.
All right, buddy. You too. Tyler Booker with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week by RentalWorks and CraneWorks. The big guy says look for the big dog at his CraneWorks and RentalWorks.
And also by our friends at Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila. Listen, when you're asking for tequila by name, don't just take the bar tequila. Ask for Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila, 100% pure agave. They use this extensive, unique form of mixing the tequila up. It's aged in wood barrels from the Balkan region of Eastern Europe. The result is a contrast to what you get in other bottles of tequila. This is smooth. It's crystal clear. It's the best. It's Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila. Ask for it by name. And also by the great folks at Odie's LT. We're getting ready for another trivia week and coming off another weekend where Odie's hosted a lot of good live music and great food.
Yeah, live music every Friday and Saturday. Of course, the Odie's Team Trivia at the location Crestline, the original there. That's every Wednesday night. Me, Rocky Woolhaver, 8 o'clock. But get in for lunch or dinner. Enjoy that incredible food from Rodney Davis. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. 2 locations now, the original in Crestline and now in Homewood.
You are a self-proclaimed USC fan as well. They survive Boulder, but it was a game in which USC's defense, listen to this, gave up not 1, not 4, not 6, but 8 plays of 20 or more yards. They hold on to win it, recovering an onside kick late, 48-41. Did the team just sort of take a mental break after being up early and had the game put away? Or are you concerned about USC's defense again?
Yeah, I'm concerned about the defense. I wasn't really going into Saturday, and you know, early on it looked good. I mean, they were up 34-7, and then it completely fell apart. And I told you guys, Lincoln Riley's a guy that doesn't run it up. Situation like that against an electric offense, you need to keep pressing the pedal. And they just didn't play well in the second half. I mean, to give up 27 second half points, not good from USC, but they still get a win.
You know, I would be willing to just look past it, Dunaway, if they had a better track record. But when something just continues to happen time and time and time again, you have to say, well, there's a reason it does that, right? And the reason is they're not very good defensively. And it's going to cost USC. I mean, they've got a good enough offense to beat anybody in America. There is no doubt about it. But you cannot win a championship with that defense.
Yeah, here's the good news, though. Arizona, you just got them outmanned. So you win that game in the Coliseum. Then you go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's offense really hasn't done anything.
No.
Yeah, but here's the stat that screws you in that game. Ready? Before that, Colorado was rushing 1 point. They had no run game to count for, running 1.9 yards per rush. They run the ball for 193 yards. They run it 45 times. They average 4 yards a carry. You know who can run the football?
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame can.
Esteban's licking his chops.
They're so physical in the trenches, Notre Dame. That's a tricky game for you guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tricky game for Notre Dame, obviously. I mean, the game's in South Bend. I think it'll be around a pick probably. But I was just going to say they aren't an explosive offense. Then they play Utah. Again, we were going to see Cam Rising. Who knows? You wonder where Utah is after that beating on Friday night.
But they can run the football.
Then they've got Cal. I mean, the problem is, they've got Washington and Oregon. Yeah. Back-to-back weeks. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah. That's your problem right there.
We'll see what USC is able to do. We mentioned the signature win for Lane Kiffin. You mentioned Oregon. I think Oregon and Michigan, in my opinion, are 2 teams that are just checking boxes right now. I don't know if we really know what either team is yet, But boy, they put down good tape every week. Oregon and Michigan just checking boxes, moving towards their bigger games on their schedule.
They're dominating teams, Jim. The problem with Michigan, I'll speak specifically to them, they're not going to be tested until mid-November.
Yeah, November 11th.
Yeah, November 11th is the first time we're going to know anything about Michigan. I feel like I got a pretty good grasp. I don't think anybody is elite in America this year. There's not an elite team.
Yeah, I don't have a grasp on Oregon.
Yeah, that's probably one.
Well, just because they haven't played anybody. Now, we're about to see it with Washington State, and Utah.
But I think everybody's got noticeable flaws. Georgia's got noticeable flaws. Ohio State's got noticeable flaws. All the undefeateds, and even the one-loss teams like Alabama have got noticeable flaws. Texas.
Yeah, I don't know if Michigan's got a noticeable flaw.
You don't know that because they haven't been tested. That's the problem. That's what I was about to say is the one I don't really feel like I know that about is Michigan, but then I look and I say, how am I going to know? They've played East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, and Nebraska. There's no way I can know what this team is. And again, I'm not going to know until November. Unless one of these teams slips up and beats them, then I will definitely know because they're not playing anybody good between now and November.
5 for 5 in the red zone. JJ did, continue to turn the ball over a little bit, which Tom Luginbill on Monday Morning Live says is his biggest concern right now is JJ McCarthy valuing the possession of the football just a little bit more, but a great red zone number of 5 for 5 for Michigan this weekend. The show being brought to you today in part by our friends at Bromberg's as we continue the chase for the ring. We had a friend of ours up here on the 4th floor got engaged over the weekend. When you're getting that ring, Bromberg's the place to go.
Absolutely. Family owned, operated since 1836. Bromberg's established its solid reputation as a fine purveyor of quality diamonds as well as jewelry, timepieces, and gifts. Bromberg's also has an extensive giftware department to service the registry of brides and grooms. 2 locations, Mountain Brook and the Summit. You can also shop online right now, brombergs.com.
All right, we'll get to your best and worst of the weekend brought to you by Hemp Hill when we come back. Best thing, worst thing from this weekend. One of the great things over the weekend was Ryan Blaney winning the Yellowwood 500. Thanks to all the next round listeners who went to the race out there. Yellowwood 500 for Ryan Blaney. He beats Kevin Harvick by 12 100ths of a second, by just a paint. The paint on the bumper there to get the win. By the way, Hardy in concert the night before is where the set engagement took place up here.
Really?
That's where she got engaged, at the Hardy concert Saturday night.
Wait in the truck for the wedding?
I don't know. I don't know what he said, but it was a great moment. Things happen at Talladega. It was a lot of fun. We'll do best and worst of the weekend when we come back.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
You could win a Dodge Challenger RT or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Challenger RT and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings October 27th and 28th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
Let's go back to Oxford. Forster has some fans rushing the field and some stuff that went on there. Listen, firm believer as when you rush the field, you're in a place you're not supposed to be. So I don't know about holding everyone accountable for what goes on when you rush the field. I mean, we get a lot of it these days.
Yep.
Ole Miss, it was Kiffin's biggest win. The field rush was crazy. There were some incidents, though. I don't know who the old security guard was that decked the girl, and then some LSU players had some issues as well. This guy's holding on for dear life. Watch this guy.
This is the LSU player, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, I've never been in the middle of that. I know you guys have been out when the fans actually rushed the field.
Yep.
But that poor Husky security guard that was getting deked by everybody, and he ends up popping the check. He ends up going back. It looked like immediately he turns around and realizes what he did. But if that's a guy, nobody's saying anything today about that.
Yeah, I have zero issue with the LSU player doing this right here, by the way.
Oh, no.
Guy runs up on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're where you're not supposed to be, and you're going to run up on me and try to get my face. Now, I do have a problem with the kid trying to do the flip off the goalpost.
What a dumbass.
I think some alcohol might have been involved there.
They just broke his ass.
He may have.
Glad he was able to walk up and get away. I couldn't figure out if it was was a security guard for Vaught Hemingway or if it was part of the LSU team that was just trying to get LSU off. People were joking on the weekend that that was Jim in Knoxville last year.
Yeah. It wasn't LSU's defense because he touched somebody.
Yeah.
That's true.
Didn't miss the tackle. Yeah. So that was some of the best or worst, depending on which side of that celebration you were on, brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill.
Hemp Hill Services right now offering 0% for 60 months for qualified customers, plus free 10-year labor warranty when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew. The guys at Hemp Hill Services make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with the changing weather. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, it's hard to stop a train. Call Hemp Hill, 205-229-29 or hemphillservices.com.
I don't know what the security guard thinks he's doing.
I don't either. I assume he works for Vaught Hemingway.
Yeah, he does.
I would guess. And I guess he's like, I got to act like I'm doing something. I mean.
Or UPS, somebody stole his package.
I mean, at that point, if you're Kevin James, you just got to walk off the field at that point, right? Go get your $8.95 an hour and head to the house.
Right. Or Dunaway. I go stand by the goalpost and say, guys, I was overwhelmed by the people. I decided to protect the fort. I went to the goalpost and protected it.
I mean, the guy with the hat that just went past him didn't even have to give him a move, really.
I know.
Good job, Paul Blart. And that wasn't me that I didn't do that in Knoxville because I'm afraid the girl in the sundress would have got up and kicked my ass because she could have. He's bigger than I am right there. All right, as we do best and worst of the weekend. Hey, can you give the person that my kids call Aunt Mel Mel? She got to ring the bell over the weekend. She's battling cancer, and she got to ring the bell this weekend. So that's my best of the weekend. Aunt Mel Mel ringing the bell. She's battling a little cancer there, and is at this moment cancer-free, and it's just such a great blessing from from the dear Lord, such a great soul, and just love to see that picture come into our timeline over the weekend. Whatever your best and worst of the weekend is, send that into the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room right now. What was good for you this weekend, LT?
The Auburn tailgate was incredible. They really were putting on a show. I told you guys that once we got into the stadium, the upper deck wasn't full yet. There really wasn't that buzz until the game started going. And I've been in Jordan-Hare for a lot louder crowds before. So that was a little surprising. But overall, the atmosphere of the campus has changed so much. It was awesome down there. And the fact that Pat Mahomes took a knee last night. Worst was probably the call in that game. The defensive hold.
Yeah, the Mahomes slide was the smart play. Right?
I guess. I mean, they're going to win that game anyway. I don't think there's any way you think that the Jets are going to score two.
The ending of the game at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the game is over.
Yeah, but to your point, you're about to go up 10 with the extra point there. So even if you kick it back to them, they're not going to get 10 points in that amount of time.
First time I'll ever say this. Never say it again. But Zach Wilson was the better quarterback last night.
I mean, that is weird to think about.
He felt so bad afterwards. He was
that was a terrible fumble. Terrible.
It was. He was.
But he played his ass off.
He's mic'd up and he's like, "I'm the reason we lost." And the guys were encouraging him. No, man, come on.
Did you notice? So Chris Collinsworth, I think 2 plays before, he said this guy is playing the quarterback position.
Yep.
And I was watching with a friend. I said, "Dude, he's right." I said, "He's playing his ass off."
There's the jinx.
Next play. He just, in one of those 100 times or 99 out of 100, he doesn't fumble it.
That pass to Garrett Wilson that just missed was such a beautiful throw by him. And I just wonder if Wilson gave it the same effort on the route that he would have if it was Aaron Rodgers, you know?
Why? I hope.
Yeah, I would too. But it's like, you know, he just missed it being a perfect pass route and completion just off the fingertips of Garrett Wilson. They fought hard. I can't wait to see the official numbers whenever they get the streaming and the NBC numbers in, because NBC's in a tough spot because of Taylor Swift being there and the number of people. I mean, changed the ticket pricing, and you don't want to show it too much, but you also
showed her a lot.
They showed her a lot, but they did in the second half. Do you think she left? Because I never saw her get in the second half.
Maybe she moved somewhere else. They couldn't get a shot of it. But if it is such a rating boom, they're playing the game. You can't blame them for playing the game of showing her every now and then on the cutaways to keep the Swifties watching.
Yeah, let me see them in a coffee shop. Let me see a picture of them away from the stadium.
I'm just saying, my daughter was all in on this game. She doesn't know a lick about football.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and she walked in. She was like, "Is KC winning?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "You know who's at the stadium?" And I was like, "Yes, they're winning.
Yeah,
they're playing the freaking New York Jets."
Did you love did you see the? And I forgot. Maybe Barstool sent it out. But the chick tailgating, and she had the KC, the Kelsey jersey on, but spelled Kelsey the wrong way.
Yeah. And I haven't watched them, but there are several people that did the old man on the street talking to the Swifties, asking them Jets questions and Chiefs questions, and they are like they're so clueless.
Yeah, and everybody's like, you know, my theory about the NFL and Taylor Swift's camp have come together to put this thing, and everybody's like, why would they do it? Well, this is why. I mean, you have brought in 2 different audiences you brought in the NFL audience that there was a lot of that for Taylor already, but then on Taylor Swift, you know, what, 50%, 75%, 80% of her fans probably don't watch the NFL, and now they do.
Ryan writes in the chat room, says his best of the weekend was Brown's face when Emily Grace's boyfriend said he was a +1 handicap.
Oh, how did you? I don't know if I made a face, but I already knew that. Yeah. He played college golf, actually. We've talked about that before, yeah.
Okay, I was just going by what he said there.
I'm just saying I didn't know if I made a face. Yeah.
Ruffum says best is Saban F-bombing players, coaches, refs, everyone inside. Back to the angry Saban there. Brant, best of the weekend, the Tennessee pass rush. The Volunteers, they got after it against South Carolina, and they look like a contender again. They will go to their grave this year trying to figure out what happened to them down at Florida.
Yeah, Brew McCoy, though, big loss for the season. Second leading receiver. Squirrel White showed up this past week. They can run the football. I don't know if Joe Milton's going to be consistent enough to win them big games down the stretch, but it was a nice win.
Yeah, Brew's injury was tough, man.
It was our biggest play this weekend, too.
I was aware of that. At first, you didn't realize what happened, and then you look again, and the player reaction tells you everything, right? Like the opposing players when they can't look.
Yeah.
And then you look and you're like, oh, my God, that foot has turned a way it's not supposed to be.
I'll tell you, I thought for a second, not only a bad beat, losing Duke the way we lost it, But when Riley Leonard went down,
Yeah.
and now they're saying it's a high ankle sprain. He could be back as soon as this week.
Look
Seriously
worse than
doubt
that.
it.
Yeah, it did, because he got rolled up on there at the end of that Duke Notre Dame game. More best and worst of the weekend being brought to you after I tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness. Some folks are taking the weekend off in the top 25 to get back in shape. Penn State, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Duke, Tennessee, all with bye weeks, just like Auburn. Don't take a week off, though, when it comes to getting your blood pressure, your cholesterol, or your weight loss where you want it. Way to Wellness can get you in the game. All you have to do is go to their website, aplanforme.com. aplanforme.com will take you right there. You'll find out that Leslie and her board-certified teams, they design every plan specifically for you right there. No cookie-cutter plan. There's no contract. There's no sign-up fee, and your first consultation is absolutely free. Best thing I ever did in my life, other than marrying my wife, was, and then hooking up with these guys in a professional way, was going to Way to Wellness to get my life right when it comes to my blood pressure and cholesterol. You can do the same with Leslie and her board-certified team. Just check them out right there, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. In the NFL, I will tell you this, the worst of the weekend for me is seeing what Mac Jones is doing at quarterback now and what Bill Belichick has put on the field. Keep in mind, Belichick has a big say on who's on that roster and who's not. And Mac Jones is playing bad quarterback, and he's got very little weapons around him. They were outclassed by Dallas in the worst beating Belichick has taken as a head coach in his career.
Yeah, and I don't know what you're going to do with the quarterback position. You're right. I mean, Bailey Zappi ends up coming into that game. They don't have any weapons, and I don't know how good Mac Jones is. Probably average quarterback.
He's not very good. I think Rex Ryan called him a pea shooter. Guy's a pea shooter. I don't think Mac Jones is going to make it in the NFL. And I know a lot of Alabama fans want him to. These other Alabama quarterbacks should be just fine. Having 4 starters at the same time is, I'm sure, something you would love to pound your chest about. I just don't think Mac's going to make it. I'm not sure Belichick's going to make it. I think he'll make it to the end of the year, but would not blow me away if Robert Kraft steps in and says, how old's Robert Kraft? Probably in his 80s, right?
Yeah, I'd say 83.
If Robert Kraft steps in and says, I'd like to see one more before the grave, and we are not headed in the right direction with your leadership.
It is a people, they're debating on all the talk shows and our TVs. TV3, is Belichick hurting his legacy? Listen,
it's the NFL, man.
It is what it is. I mean, he's already done what he's done.
Yeah, he's a victim of his own success because you don't do what he did. I mean, how many straight AFC East did they win?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the Dolphins snuck that one in the year Brady got injured, and it was Matt Castle. But, gosh, I mean, he owned that division for a very, very long time.
Yep. I would tell you this, that Dallas is that good, though.
And
they're not even 100% anymore, and they're that good.
Yeah, I think the best team in football is San Francisco, though.
Be a great time when Dallas and San Francisco play each other in the NFC Championship, just like they did back in the 1990s. Maybe Dion and Jerry and all those guys can come and flip the coin for that game.
You and I were talking before, though. Look, the Rams almost blew a 23-point lead. We had the Colts plus 1.5 at Lance'sLock.com. Another winning day yesterday. Winning night Friday night. Winning day Saturday. Winning day yesterday. But I think my Rams are pretty good. I really do.
I think my Bucs are one of the worst teams in the league, and we're 3-1. We're 7 wins away from clinching a playoff spot, in my opinion. Magic number 7.
I think 9 might get you there.
Okay, magic number 6 or 7. I feel comfortable with 7 more wins.
I mean, Carolina's horrible. Desmond Ritter is horrible. It's going to come down to the Saints to the Bucs. The Bucs go on the road and win. And I mean, that's going to be pretty amazing. You guys go from maybe the first overall pick, the projection going into the season, to maybe winning the division.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is going to sound weird. A lot more fun watching Baker with this team this year than it was Tom last year. It was good for Tom until last year, and then it was hard watching last year, and I just kept thinking he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt. Baker's just a baller, man. He's not good, but he just tries hard. It's like if all of us went out and played.
I guess Kyle Trask is just never – he's just going to be lifetime backup?
Great backup, just like he is in my Madden league. I've kept him every year. I don't trade him away. I pay that extra little money because he's a veteran. just to hold the clipboard. He's a good clubhouse guy, even on Madden, man. Love Kyle Trask. Good team player. Little T's best of the weekend. Being in Auburn with college friends. Worst was the ending of the Auburn game. Keep the best and worst coming in. Brownie, tell us about our friends at A+ that made your bathroom one of your best.
They did. My guy Brad Bell, my wife, was ready to pull the trigger on that old bathroom remodel, so she scoured the internet. She talked to contractors. She talked to people that use contractors. She read reviews, and Brad Bell was the guy we selected. I'm so glad we did. A+ Style Home Remodeling. He did incredible work for us. His crews were on time. They were clean. They were hardworking. They were efficient. They did amazing work. Everything looks perfect. Brad specializes in master bath and kitchen. If you do remodels in your home, where you're going to make your money back is master bath and kitchen. So that's his specialty, and he does it very, very well. I have never sent anybody to Brad Bell and had them call back and say, I tell you what, I was really disappointed with that recommendation. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Everybody reaches back out and says, thank you for recommending Brad Bell. So I'm doing it for you right here. 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758. Wherever you are in Alabama, Brad can help you. He helped Lance as well. Lance did the exact opposite from me. Went from a darker bathroom to a lighter bathroom. That shows you Brad's just going to do it the way you envision it being done, and he's going to do it with the extreme quality. Master Bath and Kitchen, Brad Bill is your guy, 205-422-1758. That's A+ Style Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
It's college football time in Alabama. This is Congressman Robert Adderholt. I grew up an Alabama fan, Roll Tide, but my wife, Caroline, grew up an Auburn fan, War Eagle. But no matter who you pull for, whether it's the Lions of the University of North Alabama or the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State or any other school in between, I want to wish all the players, the coaches, and especially the fans another great college football season here in Alabama. I'm Robert Adderholt, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Adderholt for Congress.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and Bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at New Life Art. Daniel A. Moore has completed his original full-color oil painting honoring Bryce Young, Alabama's 4th Heisman Trophy winner. This painting depicts the memorable Heisman-worthy go-ahead pinpoint pass to John Mechie in the corner of the end zone as the Tide dismantled the vaunted Georgia defense in the SEC championship game this past year. Use code TNR for 15% off. You can order online at danielmooreart.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Roy Kent gets in, fake name. Best, Auburn losing one more time won't last. Freeze is going to turn them around. Worse, knowing Freeze is going to turn Auburn around. # sleeping giant. I do feel like that was a little bit of a, some people won't admit it, but I think that is a little bit of a wake-up call to the rest, a little warning shot to the rest of the SEC. I even look at that game for Alabama going there at the end of the year. I mean, if Georgia could run into that at Jordan-Hare Stadium by the end of the year, how tough is that Alabama game going to be?
Yeah, going into, I think Auburn's 5-1 all time when I go to Auburn games until this past weekend, and I had Auburn fans around me. You're coming back for the Iron Bowl. Don't throw me in the briar patch.
Are you coming back for the Iron Bowl?
I'm all right. I liked it. I had a great time.
I mean, I think they've taken some steps in the right direction, but I mean, do you guys think they're going to be able to improve this quarterback situation between now and then?
Nope. No.
And then, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what their. I mean,
but I think
I don't know what the ceiling is.
But if they played like they played on Saturday,
I just don't think you can keep that up
in the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
Just one more time. I'm just talking about another big rivalry game.
So just randomly, you're able to bottle that up and do it.
It could be just. Oh, I'm not saying randomly, Brown. I mean, I'm just saying if they're able to do it again. Okay. If they're able to do it again, and like they did on Saturday, you just recreate a rivalry setting. That'll be a lot more competitive Iron Bowl than I thought it was going to be going into this year.
Okay, so if that's all you're saying is that not randomly, but if they just are able to do that against Alabama,
just when they're able to play like that in that building, that's where Alabama has to go. It would be a wonderful, wonderful Iron Bowl at the end of the year if you're an Auburn fan.
They're going to beat somebody they shouldn't. Whether that's LSU, whether that's Alabama. What else?
I'm not so sure right now they shouldn't beat LSU. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where. I mean, that game's in Auburn. I don't know what the point spread on it would be right now.
Yeah, I don't know if they got the offense to keep up with LSU, but who knows?
Yeah.
Well, let's do our 4 downs today, brought to you by the great folks at Slice. And maybe you want to start off the week with a little pizza for lunch. Maybe a little pizza, a slice, and a salad. You can do that always with our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 4 great locations. Get into the Bajalia Brothers, the original in Lakeview, one of Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. For more information, slicebirmingham.com. Local pizza, local ingredients.
First down.
More likely this weekend, Missouri over LSU or Kentucky over Georgia? Brownie, you first. Missouri over LSU or Kentucky over Georgia?
Missouri over LSU.
Any reasons behind that?
Yeah, they don't play very good defense at LSU. I don't know if you've noticed that. And Luther Burden's a pretty dang good receiver. They're getting good quarterback play out of Brady Cook.
Burden has 4 straight 100-yard receiving games.
And LSU does not cover receivers very well.
Brady Cook's on 325 attempts without throwing an interception.
Yep.
Great numbers.
They are great numbers. I mean, it's amazing really what Missouri is doing right now. At 5-0, one of the biggest surprises in America, honestly. Now, they haven't played a tremendous schedule, but that Kansas State win is still a good win. And I know this sounds stupid, but you talk to some people in the SEC and they tell you Missouri is a tough road trip, not because of the fans, but just because it's kind of a tough place to get to. It's a weird setting. It just kind of throws you off a little bit. And this LSU team clearly is not extremely mentally tough, I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, but I think LSU will beat Missouri. I think they'll beat them probably soundly. The number's a lot closer in Vegas, obviously LSU at Missouri, but I'm going to say Kentucky. I mean, if Ray Davis continues to do Ray Davis things, Devin Leary has not been asked to do much. They've got 3 quality receivers that are really underutilized right now. I think the game plan is going to be a little different against Georgia. A lot of Ray Davis, but I still think Liam Cohen is going to throw some wrinkles out there. I think Kentucky can give Georgia all they want.
Good thing about when you got a guy going 280, you can then scheme a lot of things off of him running the football, right?
Yeah.
You can fake it to him and do a lot of other things. They're going to try to account for him. Let's do second down, Rockstar.
Second down.
LT, I'll start with you on this one. How many Pac-12 quarterbacks are better than Cam Ward right now?
Oh, I mean, Caleb Williams is definitely better.
Is that when you start thinking Caleb Williams and then he's in the mix at 2?
I think Michael Penix is definitely better. But then I start thinking Bo Nix. I start thinking Cam Ward. Who else would we throw in there? Shedeur has got to be in the mix. If Cam Rising was healthy, I would say Cam Rising's probably better. But, I mean, Cam Ward is right up there. The Pac-12 dominates the quarterback position right now. But Cam Ward is a top 10 quarterback right now in college football.
What about you, Brownie? Where does Cam Ward slide in a Pac-12 quarterbacks for you?
I mean, he has thrown an interception all year, so I'll put a lot of value on that one. I mean, it's so hard. I think on his track record, Caleb Williams, I think Penix, but then I think Bo Nix, Shedeur Sanders are all kind of in the same conversation there.
Yeah. I almost go Bo slightly ahead of Cam, but I'm with you guys. At that point,
that's right there.
He's good. And listen, interesting game at UCLA. You talk about environments in Columbia, environment in Pasadena for a regular season game. It's not always the most crazy, raucous atmosphere. Washington State, UCLA this weekend. That'll be an interesting game for Cam Ward on the road. LT is going to take it the rest of the way. Third down tag. Boom. Go.
Third down.
Sting is 72.
The wrestler or the singer?
I was going to say the singer is 72, but better overall career. Sting, the singer, or Sting, the wrestler?
Singer for me.
And I'm the singer. My God. Police, the solo career, being in a
but
Dune.
Dune.
Hey, look, I don't... here's the thing. I'm not a wrestling guy, but I think Sting is considered one of the top 10 wrestlers of all time, just based on all accomplishments. I could be wrong here.
We're getting a grimace from Lunsford, who is one of our wrestling guys. Or do I always misportray you as being one of our wrestling guys?
I'm very casual in wrestling. 12 is the wrestling guy.
But you hang out with wrestling fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what does 12 say?
I don't know what it says.
I think top 10 is a bad overstatement there. I don't think Sting's the top 10
I think that's
wrestler.
an overstatement, too.
Okay.
Yeah. John says Sting, the singer by far. Paul says Sting is still wrestling. Ashley says Sting, the singer, songwriter, producer, hands down. So she went singer, songwriter, producer on you.
That's Roy, wrestler with an exclamation.
Yeah. I will go ahead and tell you, I was not a Sting fan per se. I enjoyed him. But then I went to see Black Jacket Symphony. And who's the dude that did him?
John Campbell.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I sat front row for that thing. And I sit there and I was like, yeah.
No, John was the guy that was in here doing Robert Plant.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I never really liked those albums because I lived through them. And then I sat and watched that whole concert, and I was like, I should go back and listen to more of the Police and Sting.
I loved the Police when I was a kid. Don't necessarily like them as much now, and I really never liked Sting solo. But again, I don't watch wrestling, so.
Fourth down.
Oh, here we go. Don McLean, 78 years old today. More overrated American Pie, the song or the movie?
To me, the song. I love American Pie. I love the second one. Didn't love the third one. Was there a fourth one?
I think there was this 3 when they got married or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think there was like 4 or 5.
But I did sit down, and one time I had an American Pie marathon one time back on HBO. I watched all 3 in a row on a cold January or February afternoon when there was no football.
I thought one was entertaining. It was unique, and then I thought the others were terrible.
2 was good. I mean, you had the.
I think both are overrated, but I hate the song. And I was talking to a buddy about the song, and he said, "I don't know my head from my ass because it's an American song." Blah, blah, blah,
I know
blah,
exactly
blah.
who said that too.
Yep.
You know, tell me who. Which one's longer, the movie or the song, Rockstar?
Oof.
Well, the song's about 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's tight, isn't it?
Yeah. Verses.
I think the song was fantastic at one point, and I think it's one of those that was overplayed so much that you just get tired of it. You just get tired of it.
Don't like the song at all.
Like I go a long way before I get to Sweet Home Alabama, my favorite Leonard Skinner song, right? Because you've heard it so much in this state that it's like. It's the one Leonard Skinner song. If I'm somewhere, I would not play.
Yeah, but if you just heard all Leonard Skinner in a day for the first time, that might be your favorite song.
Oh, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And the first time they rolled out American Pie, the song, I guarantee you, people were like, "Man, this is a freaking great story."
I personally never liked it. So Lunsford, is there 9 American Pie movies?
I mean, with the name American Pie in them, yes. There's 4 main movies and 5 spinoffs.
Yeah, but 4 of the original cast.
Yeah, there were 3, and then they did a bunch of spinoffs, and then American Reunion came out with the actual cast in it.
God, man, I love.
Did you guys see the commercial or the trailer for the Special Forces reality show? And Tara Reid looks like I don't know how she's still alive.
Oh, you don't think she's caught up with life? She's held up?
She is rough as a corn cob.
Where was this on?
They're dragging her. It's on Fox nonstop. They showed those promos.
Oh, I wasn't watching the Fox game.
It's the I don't even know which. If you can track that down, Rocky. The celebrities in the.
It's the one where they go through special forces training and they have to tap out and they get
Bodie
submerged.
Miller and ex-skiers in it. Black China, reality star.
I didn't recognize her. That's her?
Tara Reid looks awful. They're dragging her up a hill.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't do this anymore.
No.
Day one.
Yeah. It was like first hour.
Going to the set.
Like the first season, Dr. Drew was in it. He had to punch out before the first challenge. He had like a stomach virus.
And Robert Horry's in this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice. We appreciate them so much. All 4 great locations there. And also today by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision LT. If you're, listen, that eyesight, I would give anything to be a candidate for Michelson Laser Vision. I'm not a candidate. Whatever I have with my eyes, it works for some people. It doesn't for me. I'm not a candidate to be able to not have to throw these glasses on ever again.
Yep.
Would be fantastic.
I'm telling you, one of the best decisions I made was going to see Dr. Mark Michelson. This is more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision, legally blind without the aid of contacts. Now 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. For more information, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
More of your best and worst of the weekend keep rolling on. I will tell you, one of the best of the weekend was Sam Hartman of Notre Dame. Not only that big 4th down run, needed 16 on 4th and 16 to give his team a chance to win, but he gets 17. But then hanging around afterwards until Riley Leonard comes out of the injury tent was just great video to see him standing there respectively about 10 yards away. And then when Leonard comes out on crutches to go over there and give him some well wishes. Just a great moment for Sam Hartman.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love me some Sam Hartman. He's doing great things at Notre Dame, did great things at Wake Forest. But this is such a blow for Duke. Not only losing that game and how you lost that game, but for Leonard Riley to go down with a high ankle sprain, might be out the next 3 or 4 weeks in what could have been such a special season. I brought this up on Friday. If they can get past Notre Dame, this thing can open up for them. And maybe it comes down to a 2-game situation against Florida State and North Carolina. But without Riley Leonard, I don't know how they win these games.
And if you watched the first half of that game, and I know you were coming back from Auburn, Notre Dame missed so many chances there. Like you knew, like when it got to the second half and Duke started scoring, I thought Duke's going to win this game because Notre Dame lost all their chances in the first half. That game could have been easily like 24-0, 31-7 at the half.
Instead of 13.
Yeah, easy.
What was crazy was you watch Mike Elko play, and we talked about how he's vanilla on first and second, aggressive on third. On that last drive, he's aggressive everywhere, boom, 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 until it's 4th and 16, and then he rushes 3 and gives Hartman all the time. The one time he wasn't aggressive, he backed off, played coverage, and that allowed Hartman to set back there, and then boom, he had that chance to go for 17 yards and threw his body into harm's way. How about Neil Brown? Since losing to Penn State in the opener, they've won 4 straight now.
I like it. I'm surprised, but good for Neil Brown, and this is a guy that knows he's on the coaching hot seat. He knows if he doesn't win this year, he's out. And I wonder where West Virginia fans are on this.
Yeah, well, they were 2 touchdown underdogs as they went to TCU, and they go in there, they fight for the lead, and they end up blocking not 1 but 2 field goals to secure the win at 24-21 over TCU. One more win, and he beats the Vegas win total.
Yeah,
which was 4.5.
And you look at their one loss, Penn State. I mean, that's an acceptable loss right now.
And they're about to go to Houston and play Oklahoma State, who are not very good teams, and Central Florida, who, I mean, Gus Malzahn should have been fired for the way that game went down just this week. But, I mean, they've got a chance to go on a little bit of a run here, West Virginia.
If you don't know what Brown's talking about, 35-7, UCF up late third quarter, and they blow that lead at home. Baylor comes back to win at 36-35. He mentioned Houston. Dana Holgorsen has lost his first 2 Big 12 games by double digits in both of them. He now replaces Neil Brown as the coach on the biggest hot seat in the Big 12.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, it's hard to see him. They think they belong in the Big 12 and, want to be, at least this is my perception of it from distance, want to be viewed as a Texas, as a SMU as far as their money and their power and their prestige. And now you get in the Big 12 and you just keep laying eggs. I mean, that's going to catch up with Dana Holgorsen, which I seemed like he was probably on shaky ground to begin with.
Yeah, I think going into the season, most people expected this was his last year.
BD says his best of the weekend, yet another great Pete Golding outing. They did get the win. My headline back on Friday, I did expect the Golding Award to give up 50. He held them under 50, but it was close. I just didn't think the LSU defense would be worse than the Ole Miss defense.
I mean, it's hard to do that. And Ole Miss's defense, I mean, that's the thing that kind of gets lost here, I guess. I don't know. But, boy, Ole Miss's defense didn't look good either. I mean, if I'm a fan of either one of those teams, I am panicked about my defense. And – you know, if you're Ole Miss, you've got no margin for error now. You've already lost to Alabama. If you have any hopes of making Atlanta, you cannot take on another conference loss. But if I come out of that game as excited as I am about the win, I look at it and say, we do not have the defense we need to avoid another conference loss. And if I'm LSU, I don't think I got the defense we need to avoid 2 or 3 more losses.
We will talk to Joel Klatt coming up in the next segment about everything else going on in college football. Before Brownie tells you about the JohnstonRVCenter.com, did anyone, including the back row and everyone out here, did anyone turn on the Toy Story part of ESPN Plus yesterday morning? I did.
Lunsford did. I asked him this morning.
Yeah, I did not.
I did. Did you, Brownie, know?
Oh, no, not at all.
No, Brown did not. Lunsford, it was good for about 5 plays, in my opinion.
Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, how did they do it?
Yeah,
real time.
Help me out, Lunsford. Basically, it was the plays ran as they were running on the field. They used the GPS tracking or whatever of each player, designed for basically a toy player inside the room of the kids on carpet. It was so innovative. It was unbelievable, the technology involved. But
it's great if you're a kid.
Yeah, it
but
just got tiresome after a while.
Watching it a couple plays in, it's like the ball would sail over somebody's head because the connection wasn't quite right, and then all of a sudden they said it was a catch, or they'd say it was incomplete, and the ball went into it. Actually trying to watch a game and actually know what the players are doing, it was awful. But for a kid who doesn't actually know what's going on, it was great.
Hey, a buddy of mine came over to watch some of the NFL yesterday, and he read me a tweet. He's like, I don't know who sent the tweet because he just read it to me. He said, can you imagine how it would screw kids up if the Damar Hamlin situation happened in Andy's room on Toy Story?
Yeah. If
that happened during the game and all the players.
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to laugh at it, but it is so true if you think about that.
Yeah, I guess technically the way the technology was, you'd had the teams go into one group, and the little Damar Hamlin one would have been out there in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and the way they had it, though, was like when players came off the field, they magically vanished. Like there wasn't a sideline of players. So I assume there would have been players like magically vanishing when there's an injury or something like that. I didn't watch enough to see an injury. I don't know if there was an injury or not.
Yeah, Slinky Dog, right, Roy, was the first and 10. Or 8.5, or whatever the yardage was.
The best was when there's a penalty and he'd back his butt up.
Yeah,
because he had to back it up.
Yeah, that was the best part. And the little claw thing would move the ball each time and reset it down right before the snap. That was the thing that kept bothering me, is that they'd be getting ready to snap and the claw was still holding the football, and at the last second it would drop it down.
Because they had the sound of the game going over it. They're trying to match it all up, and you'd hear like, hitting each other as linemen, and the ball's still floating in the air.
And how sad for Booger McFarland that he went from being the analyst on Monday Night Football.
No, he wasn't.
The analyst having to call that game, yeah.
Did he have his rover?
Did he have the Boogermobile?
No,
he did not.
That would have been pretty funny, though.
Block the kids' views.
He did a wonderful job of playing into it. So that was some of y'all's worst of the weekend there. And for some of you, the best. Ashley's enjoyed the technology of it all. When we come back, we'll talk to Joel Klatt about everything. Tell us about Johnston RV Browning.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. And listen, Cherokee is the #1 selling RV in America. It is the #1 selling in Alabama. And the top dealer in Alabama is Johnston RV Center. You can see why by visiting I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, or simply going online to JohnstonRVCenter.com. Everything they sell is backed with that warranty. Anything under 2 years used or anything new, a lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever. You could see more, JohnstonRVCenter.com, or I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, Johnston RV.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
Man, I love a good meal.
I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails. And don't forget about that 29-degree man-sized drafts. It's Twin Peaks at the Patton Creek Shopping Centers.
As summer bids adieu, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight, because we got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight: box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your fall. Take charge today.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel, where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations: Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at legacycreditunion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA. Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it: nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Celtics give up 2 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. They're all in now on the 33-year-old to try to compete with the Bucks and win that NBA championship. A big day in the NFL. You'll get DJ Football talking about that and some unlocked this week at Disrupt the Media for all of our shows there. Disrupt the Media YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Go follow that and get the best in sports talk all week long, both college and the NFL. And the show being brought to you in part today by the great folks at Hemp Hill.
Hemp Hill Services, 0%, 60 months for qualified customers, plus free 10-year labor warranty when you mention The Next Round for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. It's hard to stop a train. Call our friends at Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
One of those things that we happened over the weekend, none of you mentioned in best or worst of the weekend yet, was the Sphere. Debuting at the end of last week and into the weekend with U2 concerts out in Vegas. Unbelievable backdrop to that. Boy, if we could have that for our studio, that would be fantastic. If we could just spend a couple $1 billion on,
I think it's pretty cheap.
Sphere. We probably could get it for right at $1 billion. We'd smaller one. We don't need that many seats. But to have the whole roof and the wall and everything changing, backdrops and everything, just an amazing part of the U2 concert. I cannot imagine.
See, I didn't see it.
Sitting there. We'll get some video a little bit later on. If Forrester doesn't have it right now, we'll get it later on. But just to show you the big ball, and it just changes with the backdrop to different songs. Rockstar, I know you and I were texting back and forth.
It's amazing, but it's also disorienting. Like, it's just like you're at a concert, but then you're just overwhelmed by your view.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if he or I, he's a little bit more sensitive. If it would motion would would
Yeah.
make us sick a little bit.
I think so. That too.
Here we go. This is it right here. If you can watch it on the screen.
It's U2. Like that almost should be enough. It's just like way too much stimulation.
Yeah, I go there's only certain.
You see the stage down at the bottom there?
I love concerts, but I don't need the other stuff. I'm going to
Now, look at
actually
this.
see.
You see the concert? The stage is down low. So your whole...
It's like an IMAX.
Yeah.
I don't know about
How many
that.
does that place hold, Jim?
I think it's 15 to 20,000.
I mean,
Check
it
that.
looks, the way it's built looks like it's massive.
Yeah. I thought it was 15 to 20,000, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, and so
18,000.
18,000
Yeah.
is what it holds.
What did a ticket cost this week?
Pretty hefty. I do not have the actual number of that, but it had some desert scenes and some other scenes for the whole Sphere as they would change songs. It looked really
Wait till
good.
widespread rolls in there.
Yeah,
Well,
boy, they won't know what to do.
Well, I'm wondering, who's back in the day? What was it? The Wall? I don't know who.
Pink Floyd.
I don't know who does that kind of stuff now. But to
I think it's Fish. It's I'm not a jam band guy. What is the new one that everybody loves? Goose.
Yeah, I'm not a jam band guy, but I don't know if you're the, let's say if you're Coldplay like U2, if you go in there to play.
Yeah,
do you do clocks and that kind of thing?
You'd have to build every song would have to have, just a visual element to it that's overwhelming that has to outdo. Let's outdo U2. We can
Right.
do better. And like that kind of thing, which is going to be what if Taylor Swift did
Look
it?
at this right here. That's the whole Sphere. It's like you're in that computer.
I'm a Lance. That's a little much.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some seizures up in that place.
No doubt. Well, I'm sure you probably get the warning. Maybe you have to sign something before you go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, that's a lot. Who's that singing?
That's Bono.
Oh.
Yep. With blonde hair. Blonde Bono. Right there. More college football with Joel Klatt coming up here in the second part of the show, being brought to you by Dr. B, the guy who's got LT's hair looking good for you and me. You too.
Yeah. T3hair.net. That is the website for more information. Again, when I went to see Dr. Beckenstein over a year and a half ago, I started to thin out a little bit. Everybody said he was the guy to go see. My hair has doubled in thickness since that initial meeting. I do a non-invasive treatment. 30 minutes, 3 times a week. That's it. 205-319-0316. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316 or T3hair.net.
As we continue on with college football here, and Joel Klatt will join us in a second, brought to you by our friends at MyBookie. Does Jimbo Fisher get a mulligan this weekend because his number one quarterback is out? So if Jimbo loses games down the stretch, does he get a mulligan because he doesn't have his starting quarterback?
I'm going to say no, because Max Johnson is a guy that you've got on campus for a reason. He's a guy that's played 4 years of college football, former 4 or 5 star, I forgot. I mean, he was one of the highest rated quarterbacks coming out. And look, you recruited to a high level. I mean, you're supposed to be able to win with some of your backups. So I say no.
Yeah, I thought he played okay. Max Johnson did against Arkansas. It's not a very good defense. People have been able to get passing yards on Arkansas.
3 turnovers.
Yeah, so I thought he played okay. I mean, I don't know if he gets past or not. I mean, you're assuming. I think Texas A&M fans look at Connor Weigman and they were like, at Miami, he didn't look all that spectacular. Before he got hurt against Auburn, he didn't look all that spectacular. So I'm not going to sit here and believe that Jimbo even had it right with the starter, much less with the backup.
If you watch that game, their 34 is misleading. They had 20 offensive points. They had a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown in that one. So the offense was not spectacular against an Arkansas team. 34-22, they win it over Arkansas. Just so we can get maximum stuff with Klatt, let's go ahead.
He's moving to 11. Yeah, he's having internet issues, Rockstar, so he's at 11 o'clock.
So we're moving him to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. So Klatt to 11 o'clock. We'll catch up with him with our weekly visit coming up here in just a second. This Texas A&M team obviously can beat Alabama this weekend. 2021, they did it to number 1 Alabama, 41-38. I just don't know what they can do offensively against what is turning into Alabama's calling card, their defense.
I think Alabama's all right, so, and I'll be interested in your guys' thoughts on this. I got to dig back in one second. Milkman.
Oh, go ahead.
Milkman. Bama's defense is better than Georgia's defense. Do you agree or disagree with Milkman? Because I think I agree with him, actually.
Yeah, I would lean that way right now.
Yeah. I think Alabama's got the best defense in the Alabama or Auburn. I'm not sure which one is better between Alabama or Auburn defensively.
I've only seen one bad quarter from Alabama.
Yeah, that fourth quarter against Texas was not good. Otherwise, they have played very, very good defensive.
Texas A&M, though, they still have major weapons. I don't know if they can consistently run the football. Le'Veon Moss has been pretty good. I don't know what he's going to be able to do against this Alabama defense, but this is why you brought Bobby Petrino in. He's going to have to be really creative. And A&M's just going to have to play their asses off defensively, force a turnover or two. I really think it comes down, so simple to say, which one of these quarterbacks doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, as I pointed out to Tyler, that defense was disruptive against Arkansas. 7 quarterback sacks, 15 tackles for loss. And what Luganbill and I talked about on Monday Morning Live today is that KJ Jefferson's a mobile guy who can throw the ball, but he also likes to run the football out of his position. And they also want to run the football with Rocket Sanders, who was back, not 100%, but
he's
back.
not 100%.
But their offensive approach is a lot the way Alabama is attacking it these days. A quarterback that can throw it but likes to run it, and a run game that sets up the pass. That's sort of the way Alabama's going to try to attack Texas A&M this weekend. And A&M against the Hogs, 7 sacks and 15 tackles for a loss.
But defensively for Alabama, I mean, they're giving up 14 points per game. They gave up 17 against Mississippi State, but I think you also have to look at the fact, I don't know if there's a stat for this. Maybe somebody could create one. Net defensive points. They gave up 17, but they scored 7 themselves, right? So that's net 10 right there. And then as we talked about with Tyler Booker, they get that turnover right before the half that put Alabama on the front porch. I mean, I'm willing to say Alabama's scoring defense was 3 against Mississippi State because they scored 7 themselves. They gave their offense 7 more right there before the half. I mean, this Alabama defense is playing, I don't want to say dominant defense, but, buddy, it's really close, man. And nobody throws at Kool-Aid McKinstry. You never hear his name in a game.
No. 0 tackles. I mean, it was like he wasn't even involved.
It's like he's not even playing until he tries to return a kick, and that's the first time you're like, oh, yeah, Kool-Aid's still in the field. So Nick Saban, and this is what Nick Saban loves to do historically, he's taken away a third of the field, and any defensive coordinator wants to do this, but he's taken away a third of the field, and he's forced you to one side of the field. So now everybody's picking on Terrion Arnold because it's the only place they can go. The better that guy starts to play, and I think he's played pretty well, the better he starts to play, it's going to be increasingly more difficult. Like you mentioned Evan Stewart, he had 2 catches against Arkansas. If Kool-Aid McKinstry is on Evan Stewart, how often is Bobby Petrino willing to go to that side of the field with Max Johnson?
Yeah, the problem is that they'll move Evan around.
They will.
And Alabama usually sticks to their side, so you'll end up getting 3 on Evan Stewart some, or Caleb Downs, or one of the linebackers, and that's where Alabama's been good so far against some elite receivers. As we head to break here, we'll talk more football coming up. Before I tell you about Storm Restoration Roofing, both Alabama and A&M coming off of quote-unquote rivalry wins, but they haven't been much rivals. That was 16 straight for Alabama over Mississippi State. So I don't know if Mississippi State's really upset that annual game is going away. For the Aggies, since joining the league, they've won 11 of 12 versus Arkansas. I didn't know that had gotten that much out of whack.
Yeah, I mean, because it always seems like they're really good games.
Yeah, 11 of 12 against Arkansas.
Do you guys have a feel for A&M and Bama right now?
Yeah, I really like Alabama this week.
I really like A&M.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Tricky game for Bama. I don't have a feel. No.
Yeah, I like Alabama. I think.
Damn it, it's dropped to 2.5 too.
Did it really? Just on me saying that, or you saying that?
No, I mean, I don't know if either one of us had a factor, but yeah, it's down to 2.5.
Yeah, I like Alabama in this spot. I think Alabama is. I think they've realized what their offense is. And I think what their offense is this feels a little bit like 2009 Alabama. Now, I don't know if they're going to win the national championship. I'm not saying that. But if you can rewind before Alabama got so elite offensively, this feels like kind of the model Saban used to use, which was an offense that is competent enough to stay out of the defense's way and a defense that stops opponents and scores points for your offense. I feel like we're almost back in the 2009 model with Alabama. So I think they figured that out, and once you figure out what your what your offense can do and you don't put them in situations they're not comfortable with, I think Reese maybe is getting a little bit better about that with Jalen.
Yeah, I just don't trust the offensive line, especially against Texas A&M's defense front.
Some of you are saying that's the best in the SEC on the front seven there for Texas A&M. It'll be interesting to see. Tesla Talk says Milroe will gash that defense with his running game. Tommy says Max Johnson seems to throw light, floaty passes. It does look that way sometimes until they land softly like a butterfly in their hands, and you're like, oh, good pass, Max. But 3 turnovers, a couple of those fumbles this week for Max Johnson at quarterback for the Aggies. He'll be the starter when Bama comes to play Texas A&M at 2:30. Locally owned for over 20 years, it's Storm Restoration Roofing, A-plus rated with a Better Business Bureau and the best warranties in the business. That's what Greg from Pell City and his wife will give you. They own the company. They have for over 20 years, and they take care of you, the customer. In fact, they will give you a free, no-cost roof inspection, 205-542-3531. You see the number in your screen. That's Big Greg Nelson right there next to that beautiful truck of his that sports the Next Round logo. 205-542-3531 for that free, no-cost inspection. You can also look up Greg from Pell City on Facebook. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. More football when we come back.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
As summer starts to fade, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight because we've got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight. Box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and let's show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your party. Take charge today. Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy, all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Cart for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Back with you on the Next Round. A little baseball conversation. Day off of baseball. The regular season's ended. Forster has our playoff bracket for you. Buys for the Braves and Dodgers, and the Orioles and Astros. The Astros chase down the Rangers, helping out my Tampa Bay Rays. So tomorrow you get the 4 mini-series that get started. Texas and Tampa Bay go early afternoon on ABC. late afternoon at basically the same time, you will get the Blue Jays and the Twins on ESPN. And then at night, you'll get the early game on ESPN2, Diamondbacks and Brewers. And then the 7 o'clock game on ESPN, Marlins and Phillies. Winner of Marlins and Phillies get the Braves. Dodgers get the winner of the Diamondbacks Brewers. Astros get the winners of the Blue Jays and the Twins. And the Orioles will get the winner of the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays. As the postseason picture is painted for you right there for another great October in Major League Baseball. Long season to get to a pretty good playoffs.
Yeah, look, I'm excited about this. Absolutely love postseason baseball. This time of year, October, to me, by far the best month of the year. 5 weeks. We've got college football heating up, the NFL, Major League Baseball playoffs. I have not seen one person that doesn't have the Braves to win it all.
Oh, really? Not one person?
It's hard not to, right?
It is, yeah. But I have all the predictions I've seen. A lot of people have the Brewers going deep. But,
Really?
But I have seen the Braves, every single one.
Give me that graphic again. The Brewers getting past the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. What's amazing is 2 years ago.
Did it to us. Was it last year? Yeah.
2 years ago, the Diamondbacks were a 55-win, 110-loss team, basically. And 2 years later, they're in the playoffs. Pretty good turnaround from Arizona. Same with the Orioles.
Yeah, the Orioles are 110 losses 2 years ago.
Yeah, and just like the Diamondbacks. Yeah. And now the Orioles are a 100-win team and winning the division. You turn it around quicker than you used to in Major League Baseball there. More of your go ahead.
If you're the Braves and you got to play Phillies, Dodgers, Houston, I mean, that's obviously the toughest road, right? Phillies, Dodgers, Houston?
Well, by record, it would be not Houston, but the Orioles.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but I mean, do you think anybody thinks the Orioles are better than Houston?
Not with Felix Bautista out now.
No.
Their big closer.
Because that's what I think it'll be. I think it'll be Phillies, Dodgers, Houston. And, boy, if you're the Braves, man, you have absolutely earned it if you get past those three.
Big favorites tomorrow.
Who?
I mean, 3 of the 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, all the road teams, all the home teams are favored, but I mean, some heavy numbers.
Lance'sLock.com playing baseball as well as you get to the postseason, and that's something he's usually really good at. Always great at helping you with your finance. Our friends at Legacy. Legacy's everyday checking is out there now, available for teenagers as well, 13 to 17. You got to have an adult to sign up for that, but it teaches your kids how to manage their money and handle their debit card responsibly, a trait you really need. No monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and you get paid early as well with your direct deposit. Apply online in minutes today. LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA. Speaking of Legacy, how about Trent Dilfer and UAB? They took Tulane to the wall down in New Orleans. Well-played game by the Blazers. And basically everything the national media wants to talk about with UAB is Trent Dilfer blowing up on an assistant coach.
But he did. And, it's interesting. Nick Saban gets praise for it. We started the show that way because so many of you were talking about it. Nick Saban gets praised for his blow-ups on the sideline. Do you think it's just because people think Saban's earned the right to do it and Dilfer hasn't?
Yeah, I mean, I think certain people like Charles Barkley can say something if somebody else said it.
That's right. No, there's no doubt about that, yeah.
Massively controversial.
But, buddy, he blew up. And now, listen, I understand why he blew up because that was a key penalty in that game.
Yeah, too many men on the field.
And they had every opportunity to beat Tulane.
It was an 8-point game at that point.
Yep, had every opportunity to beat Tulane. And even with that penalty, if they could have gotten a stop, they were going to get the ball back with a chance to go down and win it against Tulane. Look, I don't know if they want a moral victory or not. I talked to Jacob Zeno earlier this morning. It's up at the Next Round YouTube channel. He wasn't big on moral victories, but even he said, you look at it and they're playing the best team in the American, which those are my words, not necessarily his. And you go on the road and you got every opportunity to win that game. It felt like UAB belonged right there.
And I agree. That's what I started off by saying is they took Tulane to the wall. Great effort from UAB, and we'll see what the Blazers have as they return home with USF. You can get your tickets and try to pack out protected for the first American game in UAB history down on the south side. Big game coming up. We'll talk to Trent Dilfer later this week. Joel Klatt coming up at the top of the hour as we jump back in to our college football conversation. Moore's Marinade made your weekend taste just a little bit sweeter.
Yeah, hit that grill Friday with Moore's Marinade. Moore's Marinades and wing sauces can make you the hero when you grill this weekend. The buffalo wing sauce adds the perfectly tangy flavor that keeps you licking your fingers even after the wings are gone. Dip, drizzle, or slather Moore's buffalo wing sauce on everything you eat. Chicken fingers, burgers, sandwiches, pizza, pasta, tacos, fries, and more. Grill masters prefer Moore's marinades and wing sauces over everything else. You can see why at mooresmarinades.com. It's also a great place for recipe ideas and grilling inspiration. mooresmarinades.com. That is mooresmarinades.com. Don't go halfway. Go all the way and be the grilling expert and the one everybody's talking about for this upcoming football weekend, even throughout the week. mooresmarinades.com is where you find that inspiration. mooresmarinades.com.
Okay, one of the big games and storylines to keep an eye on is where does USC go after the win over Colorado? And then how does Colorado handle their first sort of couple of games where they will not be in the national spotlight? Let's first go with USC. Lincoln Riley talking about winning and holding on late in Boulder.
I mean, you'd obviously love to finish it and separate it more, but you put yourself in those moments and you get used to the adversity a little bit as a team, because it's coming. I mean, listen, it's coming. You never know exactly what week it's going to be where you're not at your best. And I think the guys going through some of this together, especially with our roster continuing to change over quite a bit right now, is really important. And like I said, listen, this is road football, and this is a tremendous atmosphere. Listen, we're a team that gets circled every single week, and so to come win these on the road, you go find a way, because I promise you at the end of the year, nobody's going to look back on this and care, right? They're going to look back and see it was a dub.
Yep, and that's exactly right. 20 unanswered points from Colorado. And that defense gave up 8 20-plus plays, 8 explosive plays to Colorado. But at the end of the year, you won on the road, and if you are able to do that, 12 times and then win the Pac-12 championship, they're not going to keep you out of the playoffs. So it doesn't matter how you win these games. And when compared to the rest of the Pac-12, that is a really good atmosphere. That was a tough atmosphere to play this past week for USC. It's not always the case on the road.
The concerning thing is, though, when you have the best player in college football in Caleb Williams and you've got a 27-point lead and then it comes down to an onside kick, I know it's road, and I know at the end of the year if USC has 1 or no losses, nobody will care about this. But I just don't know. I don't know how they only have 1 loss playing defense like this, especially with what they've got coming up.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that, Lance, they're probably going to have to play Oregon and Washington twice. You'd have to think.
Yeah, if they get there.
Yeah,
I don't think USC is going to be in the Pac-12 championship.
You really think that?
I really don't.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course,
now that's changed from the beginning of the year, right? You thought they would be there.
Yeah, I did think they would.
So what has changed? Is it the defense again hasn't gotten better?
I thought against Arizona State it looked really shaky, and then it got worse.
So who do you think would, if you had to project the Pac-12 championship game right now, you'd go with who?
Sounds like Oregon.
Does it sound like Oregon?
I think I might go Oregon State and Washington.
Oregon State with DJ Uiagalelei?
Yep.
You just do not want to give Oregon any credit.
That's not it.
Well,
I had a 10-unit play on Oregon last week.
I mean, you're running
10 units.
I mean, if you do the Pac-12 love map, you've gone Utah, USC, Washington, Cam Ward, Washington State, Oregon State. I mean, you're just everywhere, except you just don't want to say.
That's not true.
You don't want to say bodacious. Do you?
I absolutely hate that Utah cannot be whole.
Well, but they can, so you kind of have to eliminate them. But, I mean, Oregon State finishes with Washington and at Oregon, and they've already got a conference loss. I don't see that. I don't see Oregon State.
Well, I don't see Oregon. You've got at Washington. They get the bye this week, then at Washington, then Washington State, at Utah.
No, it's tough.
USC and Oregon State.
Who's the best defense out there?
That's probably Utah. I mean, Utah's playing without a starting quarterback, and very few people are scoring anything on them.
Well, I don't even think you can. It's Utah or Oregon State.
Yeah.
Oregon's defense is not in that conversation.
No, it is not. Nor is USC's.
I think it is. Compared to what they get with their offensive support, I like Oregon. Just back-to-back 42-6 wins.
I mean, they should already be out of national championship consideration.
Who, Oregon?
Yeah.
Why, Texas Tech?
Yeah, I mean.
Road win in Lubbock?
Well, you're saying they should have lost that game.
Oh, they should have. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They should have lost that game.
Just because Bodacious has a Heisman campaign going on doesn't mean you have to hate on the Ducks. Dan Lanning, Brown will tell you, next coach at Alabama, Dan Lanning.
So that's who you're pulling against, Alabama's future coach there.
Yeah, you're hating Alabama and Auburn at the same time is what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that conference is so deep. Nobody's going undefeated.
Oh, I agree completely with you. I'm just surprised to hear you say you don't even think they'll make the conference championship game. Like, I thought maybe they grab.
I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if they do. If I was projecting right now, I don't think they will.
Yeah, I'm just saying I could have seen them maybe pick up a regular season loss and then drop it to either Oregon or Washington in the conference championship game, and that'd be their 2 losses. If they've got 2 regular season losses and don't even go to the conference championship game, that's crazy to me.
Joel Klatt was on the call. He'll join us at the top of the hour. Here's Deion Sanders after another loss for Colorado, and here becomes the hard part. All the attention and everything. Now, because they're in the Pac-12, they're off to play their next game where? On the Pac-12 network. 5:30 on Saturday in Tempe, Arizona, Colorado and Arizona State. They get to take a couple of weeks off from the media spotlight when you go to the Pac-12 network. Here's Deion.
So what does a finish like you guys had do for this team's belief moving forward?
It's tremendous belief-wise, but we got to believe no matter what. You know, it can't be just because it's a quarter or the second half. We do believe in 2. Like, we do. I don't give a darn what down it is or what quarter it is or what time of day it is. We do truly believe in what he's capable of doing with this offense. We just got to make sure we keep him in the right situations and protect him, because shoot, he's a baller. He's a now player. He's a today player that young men want to play with. Receivers are calling from all around the country, want to play with him as well. So, you know, they're encouraging him not to look down the street too far, like we all are encouraging him, because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You just a flat-out hater if you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months.
I actually agree with him.
Yeah, I
He's
do
right.
too.
I mean,
I think it's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, and I believe he's got receivers that are playing on other rosters right now that are calling.
Yeah.
And you know, the hint there is what Shedeur going to do after this season. I mean, look, as a father, I know as a coach he wants him back. But as a father, if your guy is projected to go in the first round, you got to let him go.
just imagine all these new Colorado fans that don't watch college football, but they're watching because of primetime, how pissed they're going to be when this game's on the Pac-12 network and they can't find it.
As they're saying, as Jace points out, it's personal. They're putting us on the Pac-12 network.
Can you imagine if Taylor Swift was dating Dion?
Oh, my gosh. Break the world.
Wouldn't be on the Pac-12 network at that point.
Just break the internet, break the world.
Wouldn't be on the Pac-12 network at that point. Our friends Alabama Power making it easier than ever for you to manage your account with their new mobile app. The app features new technologies and customizations that you can do to make payments quickly and securely. It also comes with helpful tools that let you check your energy usage and report some outages. It's all right there, available for both Apple and Android devices. Simply search Alabama Power in your app store or visit alabamapower.com/mobile. alabamapower.com/mobile. That you go to there and get that app and get started today with our friends at Alabama Power, alabamapower.com/mobile. I've now spoken into the universe, and now somewhere down the road, the Apple company will be a power distributor as well. They will have power grids, and that's how we'll get our power in the future, is from Apple.
Lance would say,
everybody turn your lights off. We're going to have to do an upgrade.
Lance would say they slow the power down.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
And they'd make
you
you
have to buy new power.
Those plugs don't work anymore in my house. I got to get a different plug.
I flip the switch and the lights, it takes them forever to come on now.
Did you see the Honda commercial where everybody's on the moon now?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that, no.
They're going to be carbon. Their goal is to be carbon zero company by 2031 is what they said.
And they're basically saying, hey, look, we might not be around as a planet, but wherever we are.
I don't think they were saying that. I think they were saying we may also be on the moon or somewhere else, where I have to walk in this toy it was a toy, you know. Yeah. The big guy walks in and turns the dish.
I think I'd rather be in the afterlife than live on the moon.
Oh, 100%. My choices are heaven or the moon.
Yeah, the moon seems like it would suck.
I'm taking heaven a million times over the moon.
You still get the Rams up there, though?
They're weightless.
No, you get to watch them.
Well, why would I be on the moon if the Rams were around?
Money
has
like you get paid to live on the moon?
You don't think the first people that go to the moon is going to get paid to live on the moon?
They'll pay to actually go there.
Yeah.
No, I think they'll pay the first people to go.
Oh no, they'll pay to go. I mean, what are people paying to get in that Virgin shuttle?
Finish that sentence.
That Virgin shuttle.
Top of the hour.
How old is you?
Joel Klatt joins us next to talk about college football right here on TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
It's NBA time, Birmingham, as we hoop it up with the New Orleans Pelicans and Houston Rockets, October 12th at Legacy Arena. Single game tickets are now available. Visit birminghamsquadron.com or call 205-719-0850 for more information or to buy tickets. And the game is packed with former local players like Herb Jones and Kyra Lewis Jr. and Jabari Smith, and other superstars like Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. You can also become a Squadron season ticket holder to get complimentary tickets to this huge event right here in the Magic City. The Pelicans preseason game in Birmingham sold out last year, so get your tickets as soon as possible. Do that online at birminghamsquadron.com or by calling 205-719-0850. October 12th, it's the Pelicans and Rockets at Legacy Arena right here in Birmingham. birminghamsquadron.com.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, Joel Klatt. Let's see, we got to see. It's not. If we go to Boulder and turn right, we can get to Columbus, Ohio that way, right? If we just do you fly through Boulder and a connection from Klatt's house to get to Columbus. There. Oh yeah, it's Maryland, Ohio State. Big game, big noon kickoff this week. Whew, it was Michigan a few years ago when they were at every game. Colorado, so much fun, but what a game we got this week. Maryland and Ohio State, 11 o'clock on Fox. Can Talia challenge the Buckeyes? Buckeyes are one of the best wins so far. Let's talk football with our man Joel Klatt.
He is presented each week by MyBookie.ag. That special sign-on bonus for MyBookie when you use code NEXTROUND. That is code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. What is up, Klatt? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing today?
Doing awesome. Thanks a lot. I want to look back at the game you had, Colorado and USC, because I knew USC was going to win the game, but I wanted to watch and see if I have made too big of a deal about their defensive deficiencies.
Right.
I came away from that game thinking I have not made too big of a deal about that. It is still the same defense Lincoln Riley has had for a decade now.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up same defense because if you actually look at their numbers, all the defenses that he's had since he's been a head coach, they are remarkably similar in terms of points per game, yards. It just doesn't change. And, there's only 3 things that you can evaluate as a coach. Talk to a lot of good coaches about this. When things don't go well, you have to go back and evaluate 3 things: personnel, coaching, or scheme. Those are the 3 things. And they seem to have addressed the personnel and have constantly told us that it's about the personnel. The problem with that is, at some point, you're also responsible for the personnel. And those of us that are watching understand that personnel is drastically increased in terms of its quality over the last few years, and in particular this year. Bear Alexander up front, Mason Cobb at the second level, Kalen Bullock in the back end. They have 3 all Pac-12 caliber, some of them maybe even All-American caliber players at every level of their defense. So the other 2 categories have got to be evaluated at some point. You've got to look at the scheme and you got to look at the coaching. Now, this is a team that doesn't even have to play great defense. This is what's so maddening, I think, for USC fans now, and certainly what Oklahoma fans faced when he was there, is that they're not even asking him to be dominant. We're not asking you to be the 21 Georgia Bulldogs here, right? You're asking him to just be average. See, that's the thing. Last year's 3 losses, they gave up an average of 45 points. 45.
Yeah.
Right? We're just asking you to, don't give up 40 points, because I'm pretty sure that regardless of who they play, they'll score 40 points. Now, let me get into maybe a little bit different angle on this one, if you don't mind, because at some point now you're going to have to look at the totality of the game philosophy from Lincoln Riley, and in particular how they run their offense in the second half. On Saturday, they had a giant lead, 41-14 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. They snapped the football with a running game clock in the second half 20 times, okay? The average on the play clock for those 20 snaps was 14 when they snapped it. So let's just extrapolate that out. You're up basically 27. Basically, it's over. You can run the football. You're really good at running the football. You've got Marshawn Lloyd. It's one of the worst run defenses, in particular with what they showed against Oregon from the previous week. If they just snapped the ball at an average of 4 seconds in those 20 snaps and not 14 on the play clock, that's 10 seconds a snap. That's 200 seconds of game time. That's 3 minutes and 20 seconds of game clock. That's 10 to 15 plays of the opposition that you don't have to see. That's a possession and a half. Mm-hmm. At some point, you've got to talk about game philosophy and management on the offensive side. It can't just all be about numbers. And I'm not suggesting that it is, but you've got to play to win the game and not just try to score 60. So as much as they have to fix the defense, they've got to tackle better. They got to find corners. They need to change some of their schematics. Certainly, they ran cover 2 in the red zone. Cover 2 in the red zone against a 3-by-1. You're begging them to throw the middle receiver, the number 3 release seam route, begging them. And if you don't throw the seam route, then you should be fired as an offensive coordinator. Cover 2 in the red zone. What are we doing against 3-by-1? This is just one of those things. So all of this to tell you that there is a disconnect at a lot of different levels. It's not just Alex Grinch's problem. It's not just the corners problem. It's not just the offensive philosophy, but the combination makes it a situation where 41-14 turns into 48-41 and you're recovering an onside kick.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt the defense is going to get them beat sooner or later. When you look at the Pac-12, as good as it is, Joel, is anybody good enough to go undefeated in that league?
Not undefeated. No. This is, and I know you guys will roll your eyes at this, but this is what, the SEC was a few years ago in terms of its depth, where you're just like, man, can anybody actually get through this thing? And I don't think that they can. Look at Washington. I really believe in Washington. You guys have heard me talk about Michael Penix Jr., their wide receiver core, their offensive line, and yet they're in a one-possession game at Arizona. Look at Utah, gets a big win over UCLA, and they roll up and have to play a road game on a Friday night and get pretty dominated against Oregon State. You look at USC's schedule in particular. USC showed that they weren't stopping the run like they should. A team in Colorado that could not run the football ran it for almost 5 yards a carry, and you can even take out the sack numbers, and it's certainly 5 yards a carry. They still have to face Oregon, who runs it, Notre Dame, who runs it, and Utah, who runs it. Shedeur Sanders had his way in the passing game, including an unknown, relatively, 4-star true freshman getting his first catch of his career, who ends up going 7 for 196 and a touch. They still have to face Washington. So let's just say that if USC were to get through this thing unscathed, 9 straight weeks against Power 5 opponents, some of those on the road, it would be I would be shocked if they were able to get through this gauntlet. And quite frankly, I would be pretty surprised if anybody in the Pac-12 gets through unscathed, which, by the way, I'm going to stand on this soapbox. A one-loss Pac-12 champion absolutely should go to the playoff without question with what that league is this year.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, and I hope that ends up being the case. Ohio State, in my eyes, has the best, if not the second best, one or the other, wins so far this year at Notre Dame. Some will say Texas at Alabama. Some maybe Florida State, Clemson. But that was such a good win for me for Ohio State because of how they had to win the game. Here comes Ohio State after a bye week at home against Maryland. Mike Loxley's team can put up some points. Do you feel this version of Ohio State, if it becomes a game in the 30s, can this Ohio State team keep up offensively with what they have at quarterback?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they win the knockdown dragout, which we didn't know if they could based on the last couple of years. And now the question is going to be, can you go score 38 or 42 when you absolutely have to? We'll see. I do believe that last drive for Kyle McCord is going to be an enormous confidence booster for them, their offense. There's no doubt about it. And they really only have at this point now, when you actually watch the film and take it in its totality, they have one weakness on their offense, and that's short yardage run game. That's glaring. I'm not saying that that's nothing, but that's their one weakness. I can't wait to see this game, and I think that the stress that the defense is going to be placed under is pretty immense from that passing game from Maryland. Maryland's one of those teams. There's a few undefeateds that we just haven't talked about, haven't really looked at. I think, Missouri falls under this category. Washington State falls under this category, and certainly Maryland falls under this category. It's like, what are these teams? What do they have, and how good are they? Maryland seems to be a team that I think can really scare Ohio State, even in the shoe.
Now, that is the big noon kickoff, 11 o'clock on Fox Saturday. Joel Klatt with us, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Don't forget code NEXTROUND when you sign up at MyBookie.ag. Get that special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit at MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND for that sign-on bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Great SEC rivalry this weekend in the Red River shootout, Oklahoma and Texas, Klatt. Texas has been tested. I don't think you can deny that. I don't know that Oklahoma has. They have looked much better than they did last year. You've seen them with your own two eyes. Do you think they can hang with Texas in this game?
Oklahoma is better, but I think Texas is much better than what they have been over the last couple of years. I thought last week was a real test for them. And I know that sounds crazy because it's Kansas, but hear me out. Like, the knock against Texas, and it's one that I've made, is that they play to the level of their competition. And we've seen that over the last few years. I think that teams that are not great at the line of scrimmage find themselves in tough contests against inferior opponents because they're relying on things that are not as reliable as toughness at the line of scrimmage, the ability to run, the ability to defend. This is why, like, Alabama and Georgia don't lose to bad teams. Now, Georgia is not what they've been at the line of scrimmage, which is why they find themselves in these games that they're finding themselves in, whether it's South Carolina or Auburn. Texas has now turned a corner where they're blowing out Baylor and then they're handling Kansas. And I think that's in large part due to the fact that they're much better and more sound and more physical at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if that's the case for Oklahoma. Their offensive line, to me, is a bit of a mystery, in particular, whether they can run the football or not. And Dylan Gabriel's ceiling as a quarterback, I don't know what it is. Now, against an inferior opponent, yeah, they can score 50. There's no doubt. Cincinnati had a decent defense, not a great defense, and they didn't do much offensively. Their superpower offensively is that they've got 3 guys that can really go on the outside. Jalil Farouk, Nick Anderson, Andrell Anthony. Big, tall, physical wide receivers. The problem is Dylan Gabriel's probably his worst asset is his ability to push the ball down the field. So their ceiling offensively, to me, is still a bit of a mystery. I think it's probably lower than where Texas's offensive ceiling is, and I think Texas is better at the line of scrimmage. Texas is the better team, and I expect them to win the Red River shootout. I still want to call it. They want to call it a rivalry.
No,
but
it's the
Red River
shootout. Come on, it's the shootout.
And then if that does happen and Texas does win, they then have the easiest path to the college football playoff in the country.
Yeah, they'll be favored the rest of the way. Their defensive line ate Texas did when they were in Tuscaloosa. They ate Alabama's offensive line up. Quinn Ewers ran a couple of good runs for touchdowns this past week. With what they have at running back and Brooks and Baxter and at receiver, how does Ewers being able to hurt people with their legs add a little more stress on Venable's defense?
I mean, it stresses you to no end. I mean, like that would be. I talked about this in reference to Caleb Williams on the broadcast this week. There's really 5 areas where you evaluate or you try to defend a quarterback. It's like, you start with his mind, like how prepared is he going to be? How versed in the schematics is he going to be? Does he know where to go with the football at all times? Then you go to things like his arm talent, his ability to control the game from the pocket and throw on time with anticipation, his ability to create. And then lastly would be like, can he threaten you with his legs as a runner? I thought Ewers was pretty good in every other one of those categories, except for the threaten you with his legs. I didn't know what he could possibly do. So if he's now presenting that element, he becomes kind of a 5-tool quarterback, which is incredibly difficult to defend, especially when you're talking about what he has at his disposal up front on the offensive line, in the backfield, on the outside. It's tough to defend that team. Teams with average offenses do not gain 600 yards. They certainly don't do it gaining 300 on the ground and 300 through the air. That there are special offenses that do that. Now, I will throw this out there. The biggest key in the Red River shootout this week is Texas's ability to disguise their offensive play calling. I think you know where I'm going with that. It is well documented what Clemson was great at, and now what Oklahoma is great at defensively. Holding defensive play calls, changing looks, and getting into very specific calls based on the offensive play call. That's why Ryan Day and Ohio State hammered Clemson in the playoff, is because they had a really good plan for that element of the game. And I'm interested to see how Sark handles that moving forward. And he seemed to have a really good handle on how to handle that element last year in this game.
Ole Miss had 11 penalties. They gave up 49 points and 637 yards, and they won the game. Going into the season, if you would have said, look, USC's defense is going to be bad again, I could have bought that. I couldn't buy LSU in year 2 under Brian Kelly, this defense being bad. The offense is lights out right now for LSU. What's going on with the defense?
Well, I mean, who knew that a classic 2012 Big 12 shootout would just erupt right there in Oxford?
I was going to say that next time us SEC folks start banging our chests about defense, remind them of this Holiday Bowl game.
It was a Holiday Bowl, and you're right about LSU, and I don't know what LSU is right now, and they stay in the poll, and that's a reputation ranking. Like Maryland should be ranked over over LSU. Like that's, of course, but they aren't. Why? Because one says Maryland and one says LSU, and this defense, they were lost against Florida State in that second half, and they've been lost the rest of the season, and I don't get it. I really don't. I do know that Brian thought that he was going to get more, I would say, like buy-in and continuity with the staff that he built at LSU that would have been more similar to what he had at Notre Dame, and he didn't. So he had to scrap together. I don't think that this staff is exactly what Brian would want. Trying to put that, like you guys can kind of get my drift, and that's showing up. Again, 3 areas: coaching, scheme, and personnel. I think that their personnel is probably pretty good. How do you not put Harold Perkins in a better position to succeed? An off-the-ball linebacker against Florida State and Jordan Travis? Like, what are we doing? Like, that's, it's like the Giants didn't say, like, hey, Lawrence Taylor, you know what we want you to do? Like, go cover Jerry Rice. Right. They didn't do that, right? So LSU is a weird one. And LSU right now is the fly in the ointment in college football. Their game against Florida State, and now what? And this used to be Texas A&M. This used to be the role of Texas A&M. We would overrate them, and then any win against them would get overblown the rest of the year. That's now LSU's role in this season, this version of college football. I believe that Florida State, even with some caution lights on the dashboard with what they've done against Boston College and Clemson, we're overlooking that because they've got a great resume. Well, do they? Like, should LSU be ranked? I don't think that they should.
Yeah. I find this team really interesting as we move towards another weekend of college football. Michigan. Brown and I were talking this past week about what Aiden Hutchinson is doing on the NFL level, and he made a point of the last 2 years of how Michigan's putting quality NFL defensive linemen into the league. This team just every week seems to just go out there and check a lot of good boxes, but they haven't really played anybody yet. Do you believe Michigan's number 1 in the country? Would you make Michigan your number 1 team in the country?
I did, actually.
Oh, okay.
I did make them. And the reason is, I know who they've played. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that their resume is great. Now, your job in college football is to be as dominant as possible against the schedule in front of you. I think we all agree on that.
Yes.
Now, some schedules, they're not evenly yoked, and we understand, and I understand that. Having said that, there is no chance for their opponents. It is an air of inevitability, as if you're locked in a 6x6 cage with a boa constrictor. Like, that's going to end poorly for you at some point, unless you got a giant knife, like that. And Michigan will slowly and methodically take you apart and squeeze you until you're dead. Their defense is right now the best scoring defense in the country. The way that they're built defensively is perfect for the modern style of football. They have big defensive tackles, as you were talking about, that build a run wall. They've got solid edge rushers to build a hard edge. They've got hybrid style defenders at linebacker and safety, and really good corners to lock you down. So if you're looking at this, like, they can run, they do everything well, those teams have zero chance. And then offensively, I think that they're the best offensive line in the country so far through this first month. Their quarterback has the ability to threaten you and hurt you with some speed on the outside. And there is an inevitability to their games. I'm going to see them next week. We've got to go call the Indiana game. I don't know if that's official yet. So that'll be interesting. But this team so far has been the most dominant team in the country, albeit against a very weak schedule. But, man, the question is like, okay, they play a neutral site game against who this weekend that can beat them?
Michigan?
Right.
There's nobody I would have supreme confidence in. I don't
know.
Neutral side, I would throw Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia.
Texas would be, Texas
maybe.
would be. But I don't even think you have to stay in the undefeated.
Yeah, and I want to see JJ. Look, I think JJ McCarthy is really good, but just a couple of weeks ago we saw him turn it over 3 times.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and he turned it over against TCU in the playoff game, which is what I agree. That would be the one question I have. I think that's a good point.
It's a little bit like old school. I know you don't want me to do this, but old school Alabama, like under
Sure.
Saban.
No.
They would get up.
I don't mind that at all.
They would get up 14-0, and the other team would be like, "Well, guess we need to scrap the run and start throwing." Are you sending us those hats? Is that what you're showing us?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. These are exclusives, though.
Yeah.
You can't buy these anywhere. Do you know how you can get them, boys? You ready for this shameless plug on your show?
How's that, Klatt?
All you got to do is go subscribe to my show, the Joel Klatt Show, on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. You leave a review. We're giving 5 of these away on Friday, or excuse me, on Wednesday. You can't get them anywhere else.
Right.
You see me wearing them, so I just want to, you've asked me about the hats.
Yeah.
I've got 5. I'm giving them away. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Wow, go subscribe to the Joel Klatt Show.
Now, what does the Rose Bowl feel about you sporting that hat?
They sent it.
Okay.
It became a thing because I was wearing it on my program, and people started hitting me up on social media. And so I said, hey, like, it's up to the Rose Bowl. If they want to send me, 5 hats, then I'll give them away. And sure enough, 2 days later, they showed up.
No, and they'll be selling them.
Yeah.
So I was breaking down tape of the show. I go back and rewatch some shows. My wife walks by and says, so is that guy a big fan of The Bachelor? Is that why he wears that hat? And I was like, yes.
The Golden Bachelor.
Klatt's on the Golden Bachelor.
Yeah, that's right. I'm headed in that direction. Oh, my goodness. Good to see. It's good to see you guys. Sorry I was late. I had to reboot the internet. It was a mess this morning.
It's all good. We got 3 hours. Doesn't matter to us, man. We'll see you, though, on Maryland, Ohio State, Fox 6 in Birmingham. The big noon kickoff, 11 o'clock Saturday, Klatt. Enjoy that one, buddy. Thank you.
I appreciate it. See you guys.
All right, see you, Klatt. Like all of our guests on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He joins us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round gets you that special sign-on bonus when you visit MyBookie.ag. Monday Night Football tonight. I'm told this guy to my left's got to play on the game at Lance'sLock.com. You can play it at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything. I'm throwing Scott off. Anything, anytime, anywhere. Scott, MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round for that special sign-on bonus.
And our friends at Redmont Vodka, you had a chance to spend some time with Charles Barkley in Illinois Friday night at a big party down at Auburn with our friends at Redmont.
Yeah, they got some new products, too. So when we were there at the Laurel Hotel, that rooftop bar, which was in just an incredible atmosphere, Redmont Vodka's got a canned iced tea with Redmont Vodka. They've got a canned pink lemonade with Redmont Vodka.
The canned iced tea at John Daly, that's good.
Really
like
good
those.
products. Again, it's the product itself, Redmont Vodka, is gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled, available in 22 states. Ask for it by name. Pick up a bottle today of Redmont Vodka.
And the great folks at the University of Montevallo, if you're looking for a place for your son or daughter to head to school, make it Montevallo, montevallo.edu. Schedule an in-person tour. Find out about 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship athletes and wonderful academics. Also, theater department, multi-million-dollar music department. You got the business school just remodeled, broadcasting school. It's all at Montevallo. Montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. Check it out and schedule an in-person tour. We're back in a moment right here on TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
If you're looking for a fun golf atmosphere that is laid back with a peaceful environment, the Meadows Golf Course in Harpersville, right off of Highway 280, is perfect for you. Just a short drive from Birmingham, this 18-hole, 200-acre track with rolling fairways and ample greens is the definition of peacefulness of the country just miles from the city. Enjoy a great lunch before your round and a cocktail on the wraparound porch after 18. Come see us today. The Meadows Golf Course in Harpersville, right off of Highway 280.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Clay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
As summer starts to fade, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight because we've got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight. Box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and let's show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your party. Take charge today. Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
The Next Round Golf Court is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store. You have all heard of Red Wing Shoes, but what is Red Wing Shoes? It's the place where men buy boots, plain and simple. Who are Red Wing's customers? They are construction workers, warehouse employees, college students, the guy that fixes your AC, the guy at the end of the bar, the IT guy. Red Wing is a father, Red Wing is a son, Red Wing is a cult following shared by all men. A classic, comfortable pair of cool boots with a story to tell. What's your Red Wing story? Red Wing Shoe Stores, located in Pelham and Trussville.
All right, part of the show today being brought to you as well by our great friends at Milo's. They're introducing the loaded fries now to their menus. You like loaded fries, don't you, Rockstar?
Who doesn't like loaded fries?
They're classic crinkle-cut fries topped with queso, bacon, and jalapenos make up the Mexi fries, and 100% pure ground beef, grilled onions, Milo sauce, and queso. That makes up the saucy fries. So you've got your choice there.
I got to go fork with those, I think. What do you think?
Absolutely. It's a meal. Download the Milo's mobile app and use the promo code NEXTROUND to try one of their new loaded fries for free. So use Next Round at the app, and you get the fries for free. Give it a try there. Next Round's the promo code, Milo's mobile app, wherever you get your apps in the App Store. A couple of things before we get to trash. That includes the passing of Tim Wakefield. 57 years old, brain cancer, 2-time world champion, and he had that knuckleball. Do we have a knuckleballer in the big leagues anymore? He was sort of one of the last ones that traditionally went out there. Some throw it, but he was the last one I remember that went out there and just did it on the reg.
Somebody up until 2 years ago, and I forgot who it was, but I don't think there's a current knuckleballer. I mean, that's old school right there.
Yeah, it is.
But Wakefield was one of the best ever.
Yeah, I hated watching knuckleballers, by the way. I mean, God rest his soul. I don't want him to die, obviously. It's sad, but I hated watching a knuckleballer. It's kind of boring.
I thought it was unique. It was boring.
Never liked it. It was boring. I like a good fastball pitcher.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, especially if your team sucked like the Braves did for so many years, the great Phil Niekro, when he would go out there and throw it around. The other thing was the Ryder Cup over the weekend. It ended with the Americans losing again, continuing a 30-year tradition, and this thing ended up not being close. But were you surprised when Ricky Fowler gave up that putt there? It was inevitable they were going to win.
Hard to say I was surprised because I wasn't watching, so I don't know if it would have surprised me in real time or not. He got a lot of criticism for it. They weren't going to win the match. He wasn't going to win the match. I don't want to be disingenuous and say if I was surprised or not because I wasn't even watching.
Hydrolife brings you part of the show today, LT. You got started for your big weekend on Friday with Hydrolife.
Boy, and I'm glad I had Hydrolife because sitting in that sun at Jordan Hare all day on Saturday, having those cocktails, IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof, multiple locations in Birmingham, the newest location in Hoover, one in Homewood, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're open 7 days a week. Make sure you mention Next Round at checkout. You're going to save 20% off any of those great services. Mention Next Round at checkout. For more information, go online, hydrolifetherapy.com, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Hydrolife Therapy.
From the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room, Cody says R.A. Dickey, the last knuckleballer he can remember over there. Blake, going back to what Klatt was talking about, if LSU loses in Missouri, they'll definitely be unbranded and unranked at that time. May not be ranked again. That would continue the streak of top 10 teams being ranked in the top 10 and unranked by season end. Champy's brings you this hour of the show every day. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. They love to talk football. They love the trash segment that's about to come up, and they love to serve you great Southern fried chicken, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and, of course, those hand-cut chicken fingers for tailgates or watching football. It's Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Hit it, Rockstar. Let's go, man.
And I'm talking about I was wet. I was wetter than a well in a bubble bath drinking a bottle of water. Okay? To myself, I said, indecent exposure? Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. What you want me to do? I'm a man. You want me to put on a bra? And they just gave me 2 court dates. One for each titty.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Buying a home, major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right who do mortgages the right way. Call 205-815-9200, mortgageright.com/TNR, NOLS 2239, equal housing lender. Meant to get to this last week, but it's finally here. The movie, The Nurse That Saw the Baby on the Highway.
That's the name of the movie, actually. The Nurse That Saw the Baby on the Highway?
Yeah,
Is
you
that
can
the actual title?
stream it on Prime Video.
Yeah.
You can rent the movie for $1.99. You can buy it for $4.99.
We talked about it on the Bud Light Game Night last Thursday night, right? We got into it, yeah.
But did we do the...
we did not do. We
yeah.
talked you into saving the actual movie description.
Okay, and again, for those that don't know, this is the story that was here local, correct?
Yeah, directed by Alvin Gray. It's based on, quote, some true events. Nursing student Marley Wilson is having problems with her boyfriend and his addiction to strippers. Feeling unwanted, Marley calls 911 to make up a story about being kidnapped by a man and a baby on the highway, making problems worse. Now, it goes on to say that the movie's only 48 minutes long.
Really? They couldn't even get a full hour out of this?
The summary is based on true/false events. Nursing student Marley Wilson has been struggling with day-to-day issues with school, work, and her cheating boyfriend that's addicted to strippers, feeling like she's not getting enough attention from her boyfriend, decides to fake a kidnapping.
Addicted to strippers. Like, that's the artistic license here, right? Nothing has come out that said.
We haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, there's nothing coming out. Why was she faking her own abduction? Well, her boyfriend was addicted to strippers. I've never heard that part.
Will you guys watch?
You know, I will not. Actually, I think I may.
No, I will.
Yeah, I think I will now. I mean, I said I will not. Normally, I would not, but the local nature of it and how bad that's going to be.
Yeah, I might squeeze it in before the game
tonight.
I
mean, the names and everything seem to be changed in this situation. So how? I mean, is it
true,
even,
false?
Is it even loosely tied?
Oh yeah, I mean, she saw a toddler on the.
So other than that, is there anything else?
Any movie you can say based on true events.
That's right. Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
And we're based on true events. The true event being that, is Lunsford got info here?
It was Tyler does.
Oh, Tyler.
All right. So number 12 saw the movie, and he said that not only is there a nursing student who saw a baby on the side of the highway, but she's kidnapped by a man with orange hair who keeps feeding her Cheez-Its.
Well, no, that was part of it. Wasn't she eating Cheez-Its, Rockstar? Am I right about
I
that?
think on the trailer that I saw, Cheez-Its are heavily featured in the trailer.
You think that might be product placement? No, but I think she literally said, didn't she? Like, I think she had the Friday special in the car with her, but I think she said she was living off Cheez-Its. They kept feeding her Cheez-Its.
Yeah, I think that's what she said.
Yeah, that was
now,
her story.
what did 12 say? Did 12 say it's worth the watch?
12 said it's one of the worst movies he's ever seen, but it's worth the watch.
I am all in.
Yeah.
I am all in. I'll definitely watch it now. Amazon Prime, right?
Yes.
Yep, all in.
$1.99. So I hate to say this, I don't think it's going to end good for Britney Spears. Local law enforcement officials conducted a welfare check on Britney on Thursday in response to her viral knife dancing video. I did not see this come out. We've got it here, Rocky.
Oh wow, those are 2 knives.
So that's right. This is her go-to shot in any video she does.
Yeah.
It's this foyer thing. I don't know where the camera is, but this is her go-to shot. Any video she does is right here.
Does she just do it? Is it a security camera she has in the room?
I don't know, but the problem is this is the first video here, and this is the second where she's got her arm bandaged and she's got an obvious cut right here.
Yeah. The knives got out of hand.
Yeah,
she said they weren't real knives.
Now, people are asking about the bandage on the arm, the cut on the leg, the bruise on her back, raising concerns among her fans. On Monday night, Britney shared the video on Instagram where she danced barefoot in her living room while dangling knives. She claimed they were not real knives. Those look pretty real.
Yeah, when she went back, she at least had safety shoes on in the second video.
Now, she's mentioned feeling weaker due to recent weight loss and a now depleted caption on another dancing video. She's expressed her frustrations and concerns about her physical condition and how she's perceived by others.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's how she's perceived by others, by the way.
She really needs to get on meds.
She better be careful. She'll end up cutting that outfit she has into shreds, and it'll be falling off in the next video.
Because there's so much of it to cut.
Yeah. Just one well-placed knife cut, and it's a different video altogether at that point. It is odd that she went out and put those boots on after shooting one video barefoot.
Well, I saw a lot of those boots. You see the white boots at tailgates nonstop now, or bachelorette parties in Nashville.
Yeah, boots and shorts, boots and blue jean shorts.
I don't like the white boot look.
Boots and everything.
You like the white boot?
Panstore.com, they get you the booties and everything you need for your game day needs.
I don't know if I would say I like the white boot.
I think there's better looks.
I would agree with you.
Okay, so you guys tell me if this is a little sketchy, this story. Philadelphia area car dealership was dealt a devastating blow after being open less than a week. City Motors of Philadelphia lost 7 of its 11 cars in inventory in just one robbery. Woo. Now they're saying the dealership could be ended before it even started.
You know the problem here, LT? I bet they had a very well displayed little hook thing with all the keys on it.
It's a weird story. According to ABC 6, thieves broke into the dealership Tuesday night, ransacked the front office, found the keys to 7 cars, and escaped before the co-owner of the dealership, Nathan Kregler, could respond. It was almost a clean getaway, but there was an attempt to hotwire an 8th car, a Kia Sorento, that failed.
So greedy. You got 7 of them. You want to get the Kia Sorento as well?
The one car that didn't have a key to is called a Kia.
Yeah.
How awkward is that?
Irony.
Now, a couple of details that stand out. First, robbers not only located the keys to the vehicle, but also the vehicle's titles. This is somewhat unusual, especially given the car lot was open for less than 1 week at the time of the robbery. Now, Kreigler, the co-owner, claims the newness of the business was the reason for the minimal security measures, with no security cameras capturing the robbery.
Yeah.
Sounds
you
like
don't think this is an inside job?
Well, he said they didn't have insurance to pay for the car, so this is really a weird story.
No. I think I figured it out. So he doesn't have insurance on the cars. Right? It's an inside job, yeah. I'm not going to go into the detail, but it's an inside job.
Okay. I mean, there's something sketchy about it.
Because I always wondered when we're on the road and we use the valet at big hotels, he's got all those right inside. You just open up the little thing, the little stand, and all those keys are just hanging there.
Yeah, but then you got to find out where they're parked.
I got to figure out where they're parked and then hit the alarm.
All you do is hit the lock.
And there's cameras everywhere.
Jerome Mulligan, 41 years old, has been sentenced for threatening to kill his neighbors, but will not serve a single day in prison.
The little Jordan Rodgers.
Instead, he'll be going right back to where he started, across the street from his victims. Now, after pleading guilty to a retaliation against a witness or victim and a misdemeanor charge of terroristic threats, he is set to spend 9 months on house arrest and 5 years on probation. Now, there is a no-contact order throughout his sentence. Now, one of those neighbors, Tyler Rupert, told Pittsburgh NBC affiliate WPXI, quote, "It's very on edge to live here." Mulligan and Rupert's families live across the street from each other in the local borough of Seven Fields, Pennsylvania. Rupert says Mulligan surprisingly started threatening his families in an incident last year. Quote, "One call and you're dead," Mulligan said one such incident. According to the Cranberry Eagle, "Your family is dead." Now, Rupert, who has 2 kids and his wife, has said such threats happened while he was sitting on the front porch using his iPhone or answering emails.
Ironic that his last name is Mulligan and he doesn't get a do-over, a redo.
Well, he kind of does.
Yeah, he's out.
I'm just saying, like, if your next door neighbor has been threatening to kill you and you turn him into police and they go, all right, we got it handled, he's under house arrest.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Right across the street
Cool.
from you, by the way.
Okay.
Not a little Jordan Rodgers there?
Oh, they mean the hair.
Yeah.
He looks like he's fed up with that picture, though.
Like in the eyes? Nope, no Jordan Rodgers.
He looks stoned as a bat, or really tired.
These are new details.
We got a couple who visited one of Disney World's water parks for what's supposed to be a joyous 30th birthday celebration. They filed a lawsuit alleging the trip was ruined by an extremely painful wedgie. Now, during 2019 visit to the Typhoon Lagoon at Orlando's Walt Disney World Resort, Emma McGinnis says that her daughter and her mom took a ride on this 200-foot water slide in which riders plummet down 5 stories into the dark before shooting out into a pool of water. Now, quote, "At the top of the slide, riders are instructed to cross their legs at the ankles. Riders are not told why their ankles need to be crossed, the importance of doing so, or the risk of injury if one's ankles become uncrossed," the suit filed by McGinnis and her husband says. Nor are riders informed that the force of the water in the pool can, quote, "push loose garments into the person's anatomy," an event known as a wedgie, according to the suit. Because of a woman's anatomy, the risk of painful wedgie is more common and more serious it is for a man. Now, unfortunately, they said this is exactly what happens in the suit when McGinnis became briefly airborne towards the end of the slide and suffered such a hard landing in the pool that she has required hospitalization for serious injuries. Suit says damage to her internal organs. One of the permanent injuries
Internal organs. So the wedgie's so bad it got internal
She went
organs?
internal.
Yeah,
and that is.
Well, they're not even asking. They're asking for $50,000.
Yeah. Do you have wedgies a lot?
No.
No. I will be honest. I almost believe them with such a low cost, $50,000. Like when people go way over the top, I'm like, I don't believe you. But when you do something reasonable, I'm almost like,
Yeah, but they tell you to cross your ankles. And if you don't, it's on you.
But once you start going down, sometimes you may just react differently.
I don't believe you can get internal organ damage from a wedgie.
But they say don't look at the eclipse. Well, you don't tell me why I can't look at the eclipse. You just say don't. I want to sue you.
That's
I know I have
problem.
eye damage.
I'd like to be on this jury. Actually, I wouldn't. I don't want to be on any jury. But if I was on this jury, I would say no bueno.
Well,
you're not going to get my money.
I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody based on my religious
That's
beliefs.
right. Yeah, but if you were to judge somebody, Lance, would you potentially think they could get damage to internal organs
I don't
from
think
a
so.
wedgie?
No. I think you need to be
I know you
smarter
don't
than that.
judge, but in the event you did.
Yeah. I mean, if you jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and happened to survive, then I could see.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Whether you're in an RV, a tiny home, or other improvised forms of shelter, Californians continue to push the boundaries of traditional housing in search for affordability. Now, enter the pod. Though tiny sleeping spaces within shared buildings are not new, they have re-entered the housing conversation thanks to a new startup. With locations in Palo Alto, San Francisco, and Bakersfield, Brownstone Shared Housing has converted 2 homes and an office space into dwellings for dozens of people with rents ranging from $500 to $900 per month. Now, the way this works, basic pods are very cozy, 3.5 feet wide, 4 feet tall, just big enough to fit a twin mattress in. They feature amenities such as charging stations, LED lights, individual climate control systems. Residents share bathrooms and utilize storage lockers for their belongings, most of which won't fit into the pods. Now, even though the $500 to $900 may sound like a lot for such a limited space, when you look in Bakersfield, the median studio apartment rents for $995, according to Zillow. In San Francisco, the figure is $2,200, and in Palo Alto, median studio rents for $2,300. I would rather live on the moon than live with a bunch of people in these.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every single step of the process. Visit their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply at mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
And the show brought to you by our friends at Wayne's, celebrating 50 years of service. Wayne's Pest Control has been serving our communities by doing the thing they love, providing world-class pest control and termite protection to all those folks they care about the most. That's you, the local Next Round viewer and listener. They want to say thank you. All you have to do is go to callwaynes.com, callwaynes.com today to enjoy $50 off your pest control or your termite protection. $50 off pest control or termite protection by visiting callwaynes.com. Callwaynes.com. Happy 50th to those great folks at Wayne's Pest Control.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmond Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest. Want more of The Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, don't forget Thursday night, Bud Light game night's coming up. We're going to be at Crestwood Tavern. Looking forward to that. 5 to 7. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Our friends at Bud Light as we get ready to count down to another great Thursday night game. Crestwood Tavern. Before that, Wednesday night, Jack State, who's 4-1 in their first year in the FBS, they get a Wednesday night game at Middle Tennessee, 7 o'clock on ESPNU. That's Wednesday. Bud Light game night coming up Thursday. Rockstar, let's do the spotlight today. It is storylines moving forward in college football, brought to you by our friends at Sympio. Hit the button, and then he'll tell us about Sympio.
The College Football Spotlight. College football's biggest storylines.
Our friends at Sympio, first call we made here at Disrupt Media was to Blake Patterson and the guys because they're going to take care of the 4 pillars: compliance, HR, payroll, benefits. On average, Sympio saving companies of all sizes and industries over 18% of the net of their fees. You can join Sympio any time of year. No annual contract. With that being said, Sympio has a 99% retention rate. Call them today, 205-635-7467 or Sympio.com.
Brown, give us a storyline moving forward, man.
The SEC West. It is crazy to think about what could happen in the SEC West. I think almost everything is on the table. State's not going to win it. Auburn's not going to win it. Ole Miss is hanging on by a thread. Arkansas is not going to win it. Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, they've all got some flaws in their game that are very obvious. But this feels like as wide open as the SEC West has been in a long time. And if you can survive that, Georgia is far from this team that nobody can beat. And I'm telling you, man, these teams are still wide open for the college football playoff. If you wanted to exclude Alabama because they lost to Texas or Texas A&M because they're lost to Miami, you can exclude LSU now, but the West is going to be crazy down the stretch.
Well, and then that's my storyline is LSU, because before September was out, they're already out of the college football playoff. I mean, we've never had a 2-loss get there before. And maybe this is the year you get a 2-loss.
Not that
but to lose this soon, to lose like they're losing, too, giving up 45 to Florida State, giving up 55 to Ole Miss. I just can't believe a Brian Kelly defense in year 2 with this amount of talent is as bad as they are.
And boy, we just looked past that Arkansas game last week. It was just LSU, straight. I mean, but it showed its head against Arkansas, too.
God, they look so good against Mississippi State. Mississippi State's just that bad.
They're just that bad. I think that's what you've seen. Is State is probably the worst team in the West, one of the worst in the SEC right now, as Zach Arnett tries to rebuild that. And, we thought LSU by that performance was something they were not.
11 sacks is the my storyline moving forward as we get ready for Texas A&M and Alabama in College Station, 2:30 on CBS. The two combined for 11 sacks this past weekend, 7 by Texas A&M, 4 of Alabama. Poor Will Rogers is going to have nightmares the rest of his life about playing Alabama. He's always stunk against those guys. But that's the key. Who disrupts the other quarterback this weekend? You feel like it's an easy win for Bama, Brownie. You feel like A&M has a chance to make it a competitive game.
Easy's an overstatement.
I actually think A&M wins the game.
Yeah.
So what explain it? Because you just made it sound like it was you were easy Alabama earlier. Explain to me.
No. Easy's an overstatement. I like Alabama here. I like Alabama in this game. I think, again, what I said earlier is I think Alabama has realized who they are offensively. I think Tommy Rees is becoming more comfortable with calling plays based on who they are offensively. I think their offensive line is playing better every single game. I think the more Rees calls plays within the framework of what this offense is comfortable with, the better Milroe's going to play. And I think this is a championship-level defense that Alabama has. And by the way, something I have not mentioned yet, I think they're really, really good defensively. They're getting better offensively. This is the best special teams Nick Saban's ever had, period. Now, it's overall special teams. Now, there are some places like kick returns or punt returns. They've been better maybe with a Javier Arenas or somebody like that. But just overall special teams. Burnup is punting it really, really well.
Oh, great. And Will Riker.
They don't miss field goals.
He hasn't missed an extra point.
Yeah.
Or I think he's 25 of 25 when he has opportunities. I mean, that's a kicker. I don't know what he got paid in NIL to come back because he was going to go on and enter the NFL draft.
Worth every dime.
Yeah, whatever they're paying him, he's worth it.
Yeah. New York Butcher Shop is always worth the visit as well when you're ready to fire up that grill, maybe for Monday Night Football tonight.
New York Butcher Shop, stop in, see Jim and the fine folks there. The original location in Cahaba Heights. There's one on Highway 119. You can stop by, pick up the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all natural chicken cut to order with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations, New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
No, I'm sorry. What I will say about going to College Station is that got them shook last time they were there. And that was with Bryce Young, who was really hard to shake. But Alabama did not play their characteristic level of play in College Station last time they were there. So that does worry me a little bit about this game, being on the road. I thought they handled that well at Mississippi State for the most part. There were some procedural penalties early, but for the most part, they handled that well.
Nick Saban news conference coming up at the top of the hour, part of our overtime today. No Hugh Freeze news conference. He's down at the quarterback club here in Birmingham. But you'll hear from Nick Saban as Alabama and Texas A&M, the 2 unbeaten teams in the Western Division of the SEC. Both their losses have come out of conference play each other. We'll hear from Nick Saban coming up in about 6 minutes at the top of the hour. We'll end the show talking a little NFL football. Buffalo got Miami yesterday, 48-20, and other than the loss to the Jets, if you're a Bills fan, you want to throw that first week out. A really big win over the rival against Browns team, the Dolphins, this weekend.
Yeah, much like, and I didn't see that coming. I actually thought the Dolphins would win on the. Everybody was talking about after scoring 70, they're going to be flat. Buffalo's going to be ready, and they were. Buffalo played a hell of a game. Tua did not have his best game, but I did not see that one coming. That was a complete beatdown.
It was 28 points. You don't get that off in the NFL, do you?
No. And much like what we're seeing at the college level, outside of the 49ers, I don't know if there's like a dominant team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Any numbers yet from NBC last night?
I haven't seen any, but you because I think you guys both said how really good Dallas looks after what they did to New England yesterday. I mean, they just lost to Arizona last week. So, I mean, how good are you if you're going to lose to Arizona? So, I don't – yeah, you're right. I don't know who's dominant in the NFL. I watched, obviously, all the Dolphins game, and Romo keeps talking about how much better Buffalo runs the ball now and how big of an impact that's going to make for them, that they are a much better run team than they've been. And Josh Allen, as much as I dislike Josh Allen,
still
very, very good.
Need to win the big game and doesn't need to turn the football over. I'll tell you one of the major storylines in the NFL, without the bad calls, I think Cincinnati's 0-4 right now.
Right. 1-3, their only win against your Rams, and you – feel like the Rams should have won that game.
I do, yeah. I mean, there were a couple of really questionable calls. Rams had every opportunity. Cincinnati in a 1-3 hole in that division with Baltimore, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, still not sure, but that's really behind the 8 ball early on.
A lot of Pittsburgh, I guess, depends on the Pickett injury and the severity of that. But
they're better without him, so with him being out, that's going to help them win games?
I guess. I mean, Trubisky's is it Trubisky's their backup? Is that who came in? Who came in for them?
I wasn't watching. 15 completions 115 yards for Pickett in that game. 29th in the QBR this year for Kenny Pickett.
Okay, Bryce Young has got the deck stacked against him. His offensive line is terrible. But I am blown away what I'm seeing with C.J. Stroud. And then Anthony Richardson yesterday, watching him against the Rams.
Yep.
I was like, I'm excited he's back in that lineup because I think he'll play a bad game. He was fantastic in the second half. He is a much better player in the NFL than he was in college.
For those that don't know, C.J. Stroud is the quarterback of the Texans. They won again yesterday. Nobody, I think, had the Texans with a better record than the Bengals right now. 2-2 for Houston, and Stroud already throwing for 1,212 yards in 4 games. Impressive outing from that second-round pick. And D'Amico Ryan saying afterwards, this is the way I envisioned the Texans playing football when he took the job, the former Alabama linebacker. Nick Saban at the top of the hour. Monday Night Football tonight on our video platforms. We'll kick you off with our Monday Night Football. You can get plays at lanceslock.com. You've got to play on the game, so I want to ask you, how do you think tonight's game goes? Can the Giants hang in there? Can they make a game of it?
I mean, I don't know. This is a yucky game. Yeah, I mean, I think in New York the Giants can make a game out of it. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one to handicap here. You know, I thought Geno Smith, there's no way he could do this year what he did last year. There are times where he has. There are times where he hasn't. Which Geno Smith are you going to get? Which Daniel Jones are you going to get? I mean, it's kind of a yucky game. I guess if you made me lean, I'd lean Giants here, but I don't have a strong feeling.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's a 2.5-point favorite. They have never lost at MetLife Stadium, 5-0, which is interesting. And they're 28-12 all-time on Monday Night Football. They've won 70% of their games on Monday Night Football.
Good.
Yeah.
I wonder who's the best record ever on Monday Night Football. I mean, 70% would feel like you probably are.
I think the Steelers have got to be up there, though.
Yeah.
Always good in primetime.
Yeah.
Raiders used to be really good on Monday Night Football back in the day.
Well, that was a wild game yesterday, them and the Chargers. I mean, every game the Chargers play is a wild game. But the Chargers do a bonehead play. They turn it over. They get bailed out by their defense, get an interception. Then they're facing 3rd and 10. Rather than run it and force the Raiders to use a timeout, they go deep, and it worked.
Oh, it did. Josh Palmer, yeah.
I know. It's just crazy, some of the calls that they make. None of it makes any sense. But it's probably going to be enough to, again, make them what they always are as a team that's fighting to go to the playoffs over the last couple of weeks.
Seattle has the best winning percentage. Pittsburgh's number 2.
And this is a Monday Night Football history, huh?
Yep. Pittsburgh's 2, San Fran's 3, KC's 4, and the Raiders are 5.
Yeah, 5. A lot of games over the years for some of those teams. Not as many for the Seahawks. They didn't come around until the mid-'70s after they'd already played 6 or 7 years of Monday Night Football. Nick Saban's news conference coming up next. The new AP poll came out yesterday. Still the same 5 teams getting first-place votes, but Georgia lost a lot of theirs. They lost 20 of their first-place votes. They've got 35 now. Michigan's got 12. Texas has 10 as Georgia, Michigan, Texas go 1, 2, 3. Ohio State's got 1 at number 4. Florida State is in at number 5. They've got 4 first-place votes. Penn State, Washington, Oregon, USC, Notre Dame round out the top 10. Alabama is number 11. And much more college football coming up. As you see the AP poll there, Forrester has it up. Louisville sneaking in. They get Notre Dame this weekend up at Cardinal Stadium. All right, when we come back, after a quick little hiccup at the top, you'll get Nick Saban's news conference from over in Tuscaloosa. Tide Aggies this weekend. Thanks to Champy's Chicken, who brought you this hour. Highway 119 in Alabaster. Stop by and see Sterling and the crew. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. In our overtime now, brought to you by today our friends at mybookie.ag, roback.com, TNR20, the promo code there, and of course lanceslock.com. Alabama coming off the 40-17 win over Mississippi State. They've won 16 straight over State now, and now it's a battle for the top of the SEC West. By no means is it over with, the race, but somebody gets into the driver's seat this weekend.
Well, I tell you what, it is not over with, but if you're Alabama and you win this game, you really like the spot that you're in, obviously, because you've beaten Ole Miss, who would potentially still just have the one loss. LSU has already taken a loss, and when you look at LSU realistically, it's hard to think they're going to, with that defense, go the remainder of the schedule, not end up with 2 losses. You've given A&M a loss. So anybody that could potentially win this thing, Auburn's already got the 2 losses in conference. Anybody that could potentially win this thing, you got an edge over that team. Arkansas has got a couple losses. So if you can win this game, either Texas A&M or Alabama, but specifically Alabama, if you can win this game, you are absolutely in the driver's seat of the West. You got to feel really, really good about your spot. It's going to take it's going to take you losing a couple times to be out of this thing if you're one of these two teams.
Roback.com, promo code TNR20 gets you 20% off your first purchase there. Roback.com if you want to check that out. One thing to take away from the Bama game at Mississippi State, Jalen Milroe continues to get a little bit more comfortable, but he only threw the ball 12 times. But he hit on his first 8 of 8 passing, finished up 10 of 12, but he hit his first 8 passing for 164 yards. 335 yards of offense, 171 of that was rushing for Alabama, and Jace McClellan continues to be the hammer, just 63 yards but 15 carries, and it's crucial for them to continue to do the traditional running game, which frees up Milroe and a little bit of that passing attack.
It was wild that they did not complete a pass in the first quarter. I don't know how many quarters that weren't just mop-up fourth quarters against a bad team that Alabama has gone under Saban without completing a pass. And it wasn't because passes weren't called. They were called, but Milroe would just get flushed. He'd pull it down and run, couldn't find whatever he wanted, whatever the case might be. But not to attempt to pass in an entire quarter of football and not be down like 14-0 is pretty crazy. And, Alabama's obviously got to improve on that. But again, that's what I was talking about earlier. I just think Reese seems to have a better grasp of what this offense is comfortable doing. And if they can continue to play within that framework and this defense continues to play that way, I think it's a formula that gets you a lot of wins if you're Alabama.
Max Johnson is the quarterback. Last time Alabama went there, Brown, they lost in College Station, and it was a backup quarterback who beat them then, too. Here comes another backup. I guess technically he's not the backup anymore. He's the starter now, right?
Well, he was the backup. He's only the starter because of injury. But
and I guess that's the way it happened last time, too, right? Because there was a backup quarterback that beat him. Yeah,
I think you're right. And Max Johnson is a guy that has been in this situation several times, and he always seems to come in and play solid play when his number is called, whether it was for LSU or now for Texas A&M. But then you always have to go back to the fact that he's in these job battles, and he loses every one of them for some reason. What is that reason? I don't know. But Max Johnson, played very, very well, I thought, coming in relief against Auburn. Probably not exactly what you wanted, but they did win the game against Arkansas. I mean, it's so hard to know what to expect out of this guy. Normally, guys that are making their first start against a Nick Saban coach defense struggle. And I don't obviously have the numbers in front of me on that, but I think historically, if you go back and look at quarterbacks that are asked to make their first start against a Saban coach defense, they generally don't have a good outing. This guy's got a little more experience than most people in those situations. So I don't know if that's what I expect out of him, but I do expect Alabama's defense to have you got a corner that's taken away a third of the field. You've got two safeties that are really, really good, and Malachi Moore and Caleb Downs continues to evolve into a really good player, and it's forcing everybody to throw at Arnold. And as long as Arnold can hold up in coverage, I think you got something with this defense. It can be an elite defense. It's playing that way right now, but I think it can be a further elite defense.
I'm not sure Max Johnson's ever lost as a starting quarterback, so we'll see what he does this weekend against Alabama, where Alabama's about a 3.5-point favorite, but maybe down to 3 or wherever it ended up with mybookie.ag. Promo code next round for your deposit bonus, mybookie.ag, promo code next round, as we wait Nick Saban to get to the podium, and there he is, stepping up. So let's listen into the Alabama coach as the Tide goes to College Station.
Good. Well, I think that, once we got going in the Mississippi State game, we played a lot better. We had some early bumps in the road on offense that were drive stoppers again. But once we got sort of past that, I thought we executed and played pretty well. I think Jalen settled down in the game and, played well. And defensively, we played, except for a couple spurts in the game where I thought we lost our intensity a little bit, played pretty well, made some improvement. So, we need to build on the things that we're doing well. We need to eliminate, and it's kind of like, when do you say enough is enough when it comes to, some of these things that we're doing to shoot ourselves in the foot, which are easily correctable. We need to get them corrected. We're playing a really good team this week, So it's going to be really important, I think, that they're playing as well as they played all season long. They've gotten better and better since the early game, and they got a lot of good players. They're really good on defense. Jimbo does a really good job with them on offense. They got some really good skilled players. So it's going to be really important for us to have the kind of intensity that we need to have throughout the week in practice. It's almost like, hey, we're going to challenge you this week in practice because it's going to be hard in the game. And you need to be locked in all week long, and you need to be ready for the challenge that you're going to get when you play against a good team on the road in a really tough environment. So, this team is, leading the conference in defense. They're very good up front on defense, very difficult to run the ball against, and they score a lot of points. And the combination of those two things make them a really, really good team. So this is going to be a real challenge for us.
Start on the left with Chase.
Connor Talty made a pretty nice solo tackle on a kickoff return Saturday. How confident are you in the specialists as a group, as tacklers, and how often do you throw those guys in a tackling drill just to make sure their technique is sharp?
Well, I hope they never have to make a tackle, if you want to know the truth about it. I mean, one of the worst things that could ever happen to us is one of them, because we have good specialists, so we put them in a tackling drill and they get hurt and they can't kick anymore. So they got to kick a lot, they got to tackle a little, so you got to kind of prioritize. We do that some in camp, but I'm just hoping that they never have to make a tackle, and I think if we covered kicks the way we're supposed to, hopefully they won't.
Hey, Coach. Have you been able to pinpoint the issue on the snaps and maybe how to clean those up?
Well, we got to have just a little better focus, I think, on the importance of the snap, because this has been a pretty consistent, issue where it makes it harder for the quarterback to be able to function when, he doesn't have a dependable snap to deal with, whether he's faking, whether it's a play action pass, whether he's trying to read coverage, because you got to take your eyes off what you want to be looking at to be able to catch the ball. So that's something we've been working on, and we certainly need to continue to work on it and improve, no question.
Middle with Matt.
Have you seen Caleb Downs get better this season as he's gained a little bit of experience?
Yeah, I think Caleb was a really good player, right to start with. I think that, one of the things that freshmen especially, they kind of get the defense, they kind of learn what they're supposed to do, and then you start getting into game plans where you got to tweak those things a little bit. That's where the experience really comes into play. So then you can put yourself in the right position, more often. But he's played really, really well for us. He's bright, smart, very instinctive as a football player. Really works hard to prepare, very conscientious in terms of making sure that he knows exactly what he's supposed to do, where he's supposed to be, and how he fits on the plays. And I think that being a good player and being a very conscientious person, the combination of those two has really enhanced his development and improvement.
What's been your evaluation at left tackle the last couple weeks with Proctor and Pritchett?
Yeah, well, I thought they played better in this game. This is probably the best they played, all year. So the offensive line as a whole, played one of their better games against a, difficult, front that stunts a lot. But 74 probably played the best he's played all year, which is a good thing, and hopefully that'll give him some confidence. And I still think we have confidence that 57 can do a good job for us as well.
Step here with Nick Kelly.
Is there anything different that you've noticed from Dallas Turner this year as compared to his first two seasons?
Dallas has always been a good player for us. He's always, a hard worker, really conscientious guy. Has a sort of high standard for how he wants to play and do things, and This year, I think he's tried to take on a little bit more of a leadership role in terms of how he can impact and affect other people, on the team, which I think he's done a good job of. And, he's played really well for us.
Go Nick Alvarez right here.
How do you develop a quarterback's internal clock when it comes to either staying in the pocket or scrambling?
I don't know how how you going to deal with not having your phone. You're of that generation, that I gotta have it. I think practice. The one thing that you can do in practice and get away with is not have to play with the right time clock, to use your terminology. In terms of the rush is not going to be as quick. You can hold the ball, you can try to figure things out, but then in the game that all changes. So I think to create circumstances in practice where you have to get the ball out on time, and you're constantly talking about getting the ball out on time, I think that's really, really important, for guys to develop that sense of time clock, and it's the timing of the play. Sometimes when you hold the ball, the play's open for a second, then it closes. So you got to throw the ball on time. That's very, very important, and we got to keep working on that.
We saw Jeremiah Alexander with the inside linebackers before the game. How much was that related to Lawson's injury versus something more permanent? What have you seen from him in general?
Well, I think it's something we've been considering. And Jeremiah was developing nicely as an outside backer, wasn't getting to play much. So the injury kind of enhanced, this is the right time to do this. And I think it could be good for us in the future.
Coach, before the season you talked about the cake analogy with the quarterback, but as far as the defense, really a statement win this weekend. Do you use a different analogy, or is it kind of like a cake that never comes out, it's still growing every week?
Well, it needs to grow every week. I think the whole team needs to grow every week. I think that, there's so many things that we can improve on. There's so many things that, if we can learn and pay attention to detail and have a sense of urgency and sustain that, whether it's practice, games, whatever, we're going to eliminate some of, our negatives that have proven, pretty costly. I mean, you can say we won the game, but you want to eliminate, some of the mistakes, because you always look at the play and say, okay, did they make a play because of what they did and how they executed it, or was there some error on our part that allowed them to make a play? And those are the things you need to eliminate, because then you're playing with a little more consistency, and the whole object is to make the other team beat you. Don't beat yourself.
Yeah, Coach, you said before the game, Miss Terry told you to get onto the players if things didn't go well in the beginning. After the game, what did you think her thoughts on the game were?
Well, she waited up for me to get home, so that was a good thing. But it was one of the first games she's missed and didn't go to since we've been here. I think it is the first game, actually. And so, she says she can see what's happening a lot better on TV. So I got coached up quite a bit when I got home.
Two more. We'll start in the back.
Hey, Coach, do you pay much attention to the standings or the rankings at all, and with how things are currently shaping up? Are you letting your guys know that everything they want to achieve is still right there in front of them?
Look, we're trying to play one game at a time. We're trying to improve our team. I can't tell you where we're ranked. I can't tell you what the standings are. I think everybody kind of realizes, the importance of every game that we play. So the whole focus is, how can we play better? How can we play good? How can we improve? Not worrying about some outcome-oriented thing that may happen 2 months from now. I'm focused on what am I going to do in the next 5 minutes, the next 30 minutes, the next hour, the next 2 hours, the next 3 hours to help us play better as a team. That's all I care about. And I think that's my job. So we got guys like this guy over here who can do standings and rankings and put a poll together and say who should be this and that. And he's good at that. And I thank him for it. And just less time I have to spend doing it.
We're going to finish with Joe.
Coach Jihad got the start this past weekend. Obviously got the interception, but maybe missed a little. How do you coach him to have correct eyes in the backfield with all the motions and movements that Mississippi State did?
Yeah, well, we practice it all week. Discipline eye control is one of the most important things in playing football. And like everybody grows up watching the ball. I've talked about this before. So that's how you watch a game. But when you're playing a game, you have specific keys and things to look at. Like if the guard pulls, it doesn't matter which way the back goes, your key says go this way. When they run a slider, you got to know when you got to fall back and when you don't. All right, so we just got to keep working and working and working on those things so that, and I think communication, helps that. And we're constantly on the secondary to communicate, because if they communicate, it makes it easier for the linebackers to know how and when and what they're supposed to do. So, Jihad makes a lot of plays, and he's developing nicely at the position, but experience is going to be critical for him to continue to grow and develop.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That's Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa today. In good humor. They are making some really interesting comments. Not worried about something that could happen 2 months from now. If you're scoring at home, 52 days until Thanksgiving, 54 days until the Iron Bowl, a lot will happen with this Alabama team in the next 54 days, but everything is still out in front of them. If they can take care of business down the stretch, they'll be favored in every game.
I think you got to make them the favorite to win the West right now, which was that question. Are they going to do it? I don't know. I think the West is going to be crazy down the stretch, but if you take the totality of the season thus far, even, with the loss to Texas, I think Alabama looks like the best team in the West. Now, that can change quickly, and it already has changed, for me at least. And if Alabama goes and plays poorly against Texas A&M, maybe I'll say that about Texas A&M. I don't know, but if I look at the totality of what we've seen thus far, I think Alabama's the best team in the West right now, and I don't think they're that far off for the best team in the conference. I think the gap between Alabama and Georgia is closer right now than it was last year.
Yeah, clean up a little dead wood. I said Max Johnson was undefeated as a starter at Texas A&M. He did start for LSU against Alabama in 2021 in that contest back there when he was with the LSU Bengal Tigers. Speaking of LSU, they're part of the new TV dates that are out, not this weekend, but for Week 7 coming up, Brown.
It's the SEC doubleheader. This is the early and 2:30 doubleheader. This is not the primetime doubleheader slate. So Georgia and Vandy will be a SEC game on CBS at 11 o'clock Central Time on October 14th. Straight out of game day, you're going to get Arkansas at Alabama. So Alabama with an 11 a.m. Tuscaloosa game. The 2:30 CBS game is Texas A&M at Tennessee. So they will be certainly, I'm not going to say CBS is pulling for Texas A&M against Alabama. They've got that game. Florida at South Carolina, also a 2:30 game. It's on SEC Network. Missouri at Arkansas, a 6:30 game on the SEC Network, or a 6 o'clock game on ESPN. And Auburn and LSU is the other half of that. Auburn, LSU, either 6 o'clock on ESPN or 6:30 on SEC Network in Baton Rouge. So it's a night game in Baton Rouge for Auburn no matter what. It's just whether or not it starts at 6 on ESPN or 6:30 on the SEC Network.
That's the TV times coming up for week number 7, but week 6 first coming up this weekend as Alabama heads to College Station to play Texas A&M. That's our overtime today. Don't forget to Disrupt the Media. Go over to that YouTube channel. We appreciate you for supporting the next round on YouTube. Please continue to do that. But it's a separate YouTube channel, Disrupt the Media. Go there, like and subscribe, and get all the wonderful Disrupt the Media shows from Tom Luganbill to Brock Hewer to Peter Burns to DJ Daniel Jeremiah. And also go to War Damn Pods for the Village Vice and Roll Tide Pods. Like and subscribe there, part of the Disrupt the Media YouTube channel, where you get Talk of Champions with Tyler Watts and also Elephant in the Room with Jake Coker and Mick Gillespie and a lot more. It's all right there. Disrupt the Media on our YouTube channel. Go like and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central.